video games and the people who play them on this August 11th, 2020. It's the Giant Bombcast. Ben Pack, the competitive gamer, is here.
That's right. My MMR has never been higher. My ELO is through the roof, and my I'm double, triple master platinum.
You are in it to win it, as they say. Jan Ochoa, the chill gamer.
Yes, I'm the chill, supportive gamer. If you need me to be the wind beneath your gaming wings, I'll just blow you. Here I am.
Wow,
that's very supportive.
That's like full service support system.
Yep.
It's just keeping it positive over there. Jeff Gersman, the historical gamer.
I'm angry about all these patches. Back in my day, you just put the cartridge in and it worked. Nowadays, I put the disc in the thing and it says you got to wait another 20 hours.
You used to have to blow in the thing, and now it just blows my data caps with all these downloads.
I don't even have an internet. What am I supposed to do? I bought Destiny at the electronics boutique, and I put it in to my video game entertainment system, and it says something about a server. What is a server? What am I doing dishes over here?
Jeff, have you considered taking a hard right and rebranding as the Andy Rooney of video games?
And now the rest of the story.
You're gonna have to grow your eyebrows out a little bit more if you're gonna go that route, I think.
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm basically right there.
Yes.
I can.
Bush.
Holy shit!
Bush,
It's
Look at
Andy.
that.
Oh my God, he's here.
What is up with these video games? Back when we played Clash at Demon Head, you could just put it in and enjoy it and finish it. And nowadays, you're telling me Clash at Demon Head's a fake band in some shitty movie? Go and fuck yourselves.
Are you excited about the
Page 2.
PS5 Andy Rooney video games?
The PS5, back in my... I got a PS2 keyboard, and I type on it for my newspaper column,
Andy
where I
Rooney.
write about how much bullshit the PlayStation 5 is.
Andy Rooney Video Games is a pretty good Twitter handle. All right. Back in your day, you only had to buy the game once.
Yeah, well,
Yes, something like that. All right. I'm Brad Shoemaker.
Street Fighter 2 came along and fucked everything up.
I'm the wild card, I'm going to say.
Oh,
I don't know what that means because I can't
Before
think
the end of the episode, your true nature will be revealed.
don't know if your mic is going to be too low, too high. I love it.
the obsessive gamer, perhaps?
The passionate gamer.
That's right.
Passion of the gamer.
Hello, podcast. Assembled crew.
Hey.
What's happening?
Hello.
It's been a
Oh, I
while.
see what you're doing here.
It's been a while since we were all here.
Oh, I get it.
We're assembling.
Jason.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even know that was 100% intentional. Definitely
I'm angry all the time, Brad.
super meant for that to segue right into the first topic. It was definitely exactly what I was going for. What's happening? What's new?
I don't know, just chilling.
Nothing much. I don't know. Just
Yeah, what have you been
hanging
playing?
around.
What kind of video games have been on your plate?
bad ones.
Yeah?
Back in my day, 6 months ago, video games were good.
Ooh. What's a good video game from 6 months ago?
God, 6 months ago was like January, February. Wow.
What
Final
even came
Fantasy.
out?
Yeah, the remake was good.
Yeah, that came out about 6 months ago, right?
That game is sounding better every day, honestly. When that game came out, I was like, that just doesn't sound like I'm going to have something I'm going to have time for. But
Okay, here we go. 6 months ago, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
not a good game.
That came out this year?
Yes,
Came out this year.
That came out this year. That came out this year.
I have a disc for that game.
Wow.
I have a little statue on my desk.
What's
me
a
too.
desk?
Demon X Machina?
Oh, that
Is it
came
the
out
PC version?
again.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Wow, that came out on PC?
Mm-hmm.
God, what else
I
came out
installed
this
it and
year?
meant to play it there too, just
When
like I
was
meant to play the Switch version. and
Was
never
Ori
played it.
February?
Yeah, March, let's say.
March.
Early March, I want to say. Oh,
Okay.
March,
Ori's
March, right. March is when video games came out. Yeah, Ori came out in March. Doom, Animal Crossing,
Doom.
I gotta finish
Half-Life
that.
Alex, which I still need to play. March was the video game month.
Yeah, it always is. End of the fiscal year.
That's right.
You know?
That's yes.
Video games come out in March, and then they stop coming out until, give it about another 3 weeks. When's Madden's out in a couple weeks
Oh
here,
my
and
God,
then
really?
and then everything will be. and then it'll all be downhill from there.
When we began this new lifestyle, it felt like the year had just begun.
Yep.
And now we're about to enter the phase that I consider to be the last of the year.
When we started this whole thing, I was still at the point in the year where I was like, we're going to get a lot done this year. And, yeah, well.
We've gotten a lot of hours.
Totally.
Of video.
A lot of hours of
yes,
video.
a lot of different things got done this year.
Wow.
From what this year seemed like it was going to be back then to how it has gone and the stuff we're doing, not doing, like all that sort. It's a pretty fucking dramatic difference.
Life
when
gets.
you think about things like E3 and all that other stuff.
God,
and, yeah, we
right.
were like starting to plan for E3.
Right.
God, I remember thinking like, I'm gonna get these ceiling mics to work. We're never gonna put microphones on again.
Oh God, man! Imagine,
Man.
Oh, that'd be great.
Well, I mean, it's been like 6 or so months of not having to wear a lav, so that's great.
It's true.
That's true. I'm not like, oh, which side does it go? Oh, but how did Jason help?
And then someone rolls a chair over the clip and breaks it, and we have to spend another $700 on a new clip or whatever. You know, it's like,
Oops.
On the downside, now you have to do all the shopping for your own microphone accessories, which I find myself doing on a weekly basis at this point.
yeah. It's time for me to check and see if that fucking Elgato microphone is back in stock anywhere yet.
Ah, stuff. All right. Yes, we have assembled here on this podcast.
Boy,
that
you know,
time
when you say it a second time, it really.
that time it was intentional.
That time it was good.
Yes.
Whatever it takes.
Now you know where I'm going with this.
Okay, everyone, which Avenger are you? I'm Iron Man because I got a fucked up heart.
Oh, okay. All right. Jeff.
I like Captain America because he throws that shield like a boomerang.
That's
So he's really
right.
Captain Australia.
It comes right back to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Avengers beta began this weekend.
And ended.
Is my understanding. So it's what is it? I should pull up that guide. It's I think
It's
three
closed
weekend.
beta
three weekends in a row, I believe.
last
Yeah.
weekend, open beta next 2 weekends.
Is that what it is? I think it was what people who pre-ordered
It's
this past
it's
weekend?
open. It's open on PS4 this weekend, but it closed everywhere else.
Okay.
And then weekend 3, it is open everywhere.
Okay, and it was pre-orders this past weekend, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a decent.
And
chunk
like Verizon customers.
of, wait,
Oh,
what? I saw.
Yeah,
I saw that they were divvying up bonus content by like mobile providers, like
Yep,
Verizon.
Verizon people got into the beta earlier, like or they had a designated number of slots. There's Verizon skins.
Yes,
Or Virgin, not Verizon. Excuse me.
I think
skins.
both.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Maybe both. There's definitely Virgin skins.
I mean, it's a comic book game, so you got to figure the players are the ones wearing the Virgin skin.
got him.
Man, the historical gamer strikes again.
Suck it, motherfuckers.
Whew. Yeah, Virgin and Verizon mobile customers will both be getting unique skins. Anyway, y'all played that game.
Yeah. I played like 10 hours.
Wait, really? I was
Wow.
just about to ask, like, how much is in the beta? Like, what is
a
there?
lot. A surprising amount. So the way it was structured is like first level is that demo that's been out there, that Golden Gate Bridge one where you kind of switch between each of the Avengers for a little bit, and
So this is
then
probably the same thing I played at PAX last
Yeah.
year. Then okay.
and then you play one mission as Miss Marvel / Hulk, kind of back and forth. And then after a little while, it opens up and you can pick from like 4 or 5 of the Avengers. And there's like 10 missions on the map or something.
That's the point where I got to. I got to the point where the war table opens up and it's like, hey, there's like now a bunch of missions in front of you. But matchmaking was just completely broken for me. So I couldn't get into any multiplayer stuff. And so I just, and on top of that was not having much fun. So I just stopped there. And
Does it let you play them by yourself if you want to?
Yes.
yeah, you can. There's a like, and the matchmaking problem. I mean, it's a beta, whatever. But like when it fails matchmaking, it kicks you all the way out to like the start
Main
game
menu.
menu. It really sucks.
And
It
the
really-
loading times are pretty long.
And so like it was a matter of like, okay, I'm gonna wait, like hit this button to jump back in, and then walk away, then come back and try to join. It was just not worth it at a certain point. But yeah, you can disable matchmaking and play alone and get AI people with you.
Yeah, I played like 2 levels by myself. It was working for me on the first day. I got one match with another person, which was really great because it was a lot of us just kind of running around in circles, not knowing where to go. And it was funny, just like watching the Hulk run around in circles. And I'm Miss Marvel, and I'm just seeing this guy playing the Hulk literally just run around because we don't know where the objective is. That's my biggest problem with the game, is there is a real distinct lack of visual quality with not only like how things look, like characters will blend into the environments. There were some pretty dull sections where like you're fighting through a factory and all the enemies are kind of robot looking, and they just kind of like everything's very metal.
Yeah, like not, and the stuff just kind of doesn't stand out. Even the pickups that pop out of them are just like, here's another glowing orb.
We're talking loot pickups.
Well,
sometimes.
loot, health, materials, they all drop, and they don't like come to you after an encounter. You have to go manually run around and like get over everything. But even worse than that was like things where, so it's a team game, it's the Avengers game. The whole point, I think, is you're supposed to be able to play on a team. You don't get to see where any of your allies are. They're not like outlined or anything. You have to be in your line of sight.
You'll occasionally see like an icon off to the side or something, but even that seemed inconsistent, where like I would run away from the AI Hulk, and then occasionally it would show an AI Hulk, like a little indicator like, hey, this is 50 yards away, or whatever. But it just, yeah, like situational awareness seemed incredibly low.
There's no mini map, there's no like, and like, so I was playing Miss Marvel, who has like a heal ability, and I'm like, well, I need to keep track of where my allies are because I want to be able to heal them. And then like even worse was like, so I don't know if you had a similar experience, Jeff, but a couple times it would be like, okay, you need to pull a lever and open a door, and the lever isn't glowing, it's not marked anywhere, it's literally just completely blended in with the environment.
It's pretty rough. So there's a door that you have to open where there's like two panels you can stand on, and in that case you can hit the like up on the D-pad superhero vision thing, and it'll show like, oh, there are traced lines coming away from the door to these pads. That's totally a thing. And it'll direct you, it'll direct you towards the next objective as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, there's that. But even with that, as someone who did know that was there, I still think the levels are like they're open and empty. I found in a lot of cases, or they are just corridors and there's not much to do in them from what I saw. But yeah, I think it's so through that kind of intro section, or after the initial intro section, kind of the first thing they have you do is play as the Hulk. And I think Hulk is like the worst character in the game by a lot. Like there's just it's hard to get Hulk right in a game that isn't just a Hulk game. And they do this thing where the characters are technically sort of different. Like Iron Man can fly.
He has more ranged attacks.
He has more range. Yeah, exactly. Like his heavy attacks shoot in a lot of cases. And Black Widow, same deal. Like she has a gun and she'll shoot the gun and that sort of stuff. But they're also all kind of the same. So they all kind of have a ranged attack where you hold L2 and hit R2. You hold L2 to aim, R2 to shoot. And for like Ms. Marvel, who does not have any kind of energy blast, she does Plastic Man hand across to punch stuff.
Cool.
Okay.
Which is a cool attack.
Like a Dawson kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's a cool attack. But it makes the characters feel generic in a way that is probably good for a game where you're probably going to have to switch characters a lot, but
I
bad in a way
you can't double up, I assume.
No, you cannot double up,
so you might
which I think sucks, because if you've got a main character and you're like, I've been spending a lot of time with this character has all the best gear, all this other stuff, and you're like, oh, I guess I can't play as this character because someone else is, and I don't know how they handle that in random matchmaking, if they just avoid it or what, but that just seems shitty. I don't know. That seems like a bad way to go.
So what is
going to be?
Oh, go ahead.
It's going to be unfortunate when they like release a new character also, and then everyone's going to want to play as that. Yeah. Like when Spider-Man comes out or whoever else they release, and then you can't queue in or match up with anyone because everyone else wants to be that character.
Right. Yeah.
Play it on Xbox. You won't have that problem.
I'm totally with you on the Hulk thing. I remember just a very specific moment. It's the first time you're playing as Hulk and you fight a couple of weak enemies, and then these guys come out with shields, and I hit it with a heavy attack and they just like block it. I'm like, these motherfuckers that are like 6 foot are blocking the Hulk's like big, overhead 2-handed smash attack. It just instantly made you feel not like the Hulk.
And also the Hulk is very big, and as such, his arms don't seem super long. Or his range seems like dialing in his range feels really weird because he blocks a lot of the screen, so you don't see the swings of your arms a lot of the time. And so I found myself whiffing a lot more. Like it's almost like he needed a little bit more of like that Batman Arkham fucking combat slide to just automatically close the gap on some of these guys, because it just makes it makes the Hulk feel bad. And then his range is like he'll just pick up garbage from the ground, like he's tearing a rock up and throwing it infinitely, which is this is a very very Hulk thing to do.
In the Golden Gate Bridge segment, did you guys like platform as the Hulk also?
We're more of that after.
Yeah, that was really awkward.
Yeah, very awkward.
You just kind of jump from wall to wall, and there's like a semi-generous magnet, but if you don't know where you're going or don't have the angle of the camera right, it is super duper awkward.
Can you, as the Hulk, pick up a car, rip it in half, and turn it into boxing gloves?
No. It is.
There is a cutscene like quick time event, pick up a tank, throw it at another tank in that sequence. But
and you can pick up guys and swing them around and beat people with those guys.
But there's definitely a lot of times like where I was like trying to pick up guys and they would block it.
They would like dodge out of the way, and they were the weakest level enemies too. Like
and it's just they wouldn't even dodge. It would just they would go through some animation and it would just say blocked, which I get it. Hey, it's an action RPG. Like you're gonna have dice rolls and all that other shit. It just they want to have it both ways, and I don't think it does good at either. Where like they want to have an action feel. They want to have an action game feel to the combat, but they still want to have some numbers and dice rolls and stuff like that. And I don't think
are numbers flying out of people?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Even like off of punches and stuff like that?
Yeah, man.
Wow, I didn't expect them to go that far in that direction.
Yeah. And it's got, skill trees and stuff like that, but it's a lot of the same. Again, it's another thing that kind of makes the characters seem a little generic in a sense where like there's for a lot of characters on their skill tree, at least what I looked at, it was like, oh, here's going to be the attack you do after a dodge.
Yep.
Here's going to be your sprinting heavy attack. Here's going to be
here's your combo a heavy attack on the end of your light string upgrade.
Exactly. Yeah. And so a lot of that, it's just I don't know, man. It doesn't feel good. I thought that Ms. Marvel was fun to play as.
I personally think Ms. Marvel kind of all around was my highlight of that game, both from a character like how she actually plays, because she's like gets big and stretchy and stuff, so her powers are all these like big sweeping arm moves,
leg sweeps that knock everybody down around you, like a good AoE. That just like it's like okay, that's all right.
One of the things that kind of makes the characters different is like what happens if you're holding R2 and attacking. Like Hulk has this thing where he builds up rage and you can not take damage from that, which I thought was a pretty decent like Hulk ability. Hers is like she gets kind of bigger. And then like as a character, like in terms of the story, she is like her role is she is getting a day there's a big bomb goes off or whatever in San Francisco. The Avengers are disbanded. Everyone's like terrible, and then she kind of teams up with.
I have to ask, what part of the city gets it? Is it like on the bridge, or
it looks like the Presidio?
Yeah, the bridge and the Presidio.
But so she's kind of your like fresh look at this team. She is like a super fan. She's an Avengers fanboy. Like she has all their comics and watches all the movies and stuff. So like as you're getting the team back together, she kind of serves that role of introducing you to these characters if you don't know them that well. The problem is everyone knows the fucking Avengers at this point. Disney has made sure of that fact.
I found like some aspects of the like it makes perfect sense for them to be like, oh, because like she's the narrator, like she's the first voice you hear when you start the game, and yeah, like I think it's like it's a somewhat clever way to try to like walk you through that stuff. But then when she's got lines of dialogue where she's like, I won that fan fiction competition and now I'm accidentally a superhero. I'm just like, fuck this. This is terrible.
I thought that stuff was okay.
Self-insert, like player surrogate garbage. It just sucks.
They definitely try and do the like Marvel movie one-liners to way less effectiveness. Like there's so many just like people dropping a one-liner, but the problem is it's not Robert Downey Jr. It's Troy Baker or who's the other video game voice guy?
Nolan North.
Yes, Troy Baker and Nolan North are your Bruce Banner and Tony Starks in that game. I thought the Hulk looked like Peter Dinklage, which really fucked with me. He's got
Oh
like
yeah, huh? Yeah.
he looks like a really big Peter Dinklage.
Also,
I could not get over that.
when you're loading into a mission and you have the Hulk on the mission, like that, it's that when you're going to that second mission, you're on the Quinjet flying out there. It's Ms. Marvel and the Hulk as the Hulk just sitting there on the jet. It's just you'd be like, wouldn't you just be Bruce Banner at this point?
It probably makes it harder to fly.
Wouldn't you just be like hanging out as a dude that could hold a conversation instead of angry Hulk? What they just like? They didn't put food on the plane. I'm so pissed. Like I don't. It's just I don't know that whatever that stuff's bizarre, but I think the game feels really flat. And like there's aspects of it where I came away from it going like, well, like maybe Black Widow is fun, maybe Captain America is fun, even though like the first thing they do is say Captain America is dead, but
he's not dead.
You wouldn't play as him in the tutorial if
now we're gonna get 400 spoiler comments.
I mean, like I think it's a bigger spoiler to say, oh, the Captain America is dead because that's like the dumbest shit ever. But anyway, I'm sure you eventually unlock him. I'm fairly confident
100%
that you can play as Captain America eventually. But
how many characters are in this beta or the whole game? Do you know?
It's like 5 or
okay.
Iron Man, Miss Marvel,
Black Widow,
Hulk, Thor.
Gonna be Spider-Man, probably Captain America.
Yeah,
so
okay.
6 or 7.
And you play as Captain America in that intro stuff. So
I would assume that's one of the main ways they're going to monetize post-release is more characters.
Yeah, oh yeah,
one would think.
Or do they do? Well, yeah, probably. I was gonna say maybe they do that for free, and then
I think
all the skins and microtransactions are where they get paid.
I would have to double check, but I think they said all the characters are going to be free.
Okay, that's not. Yeah, the chat is agreeing with you. Yes. So if you had to describe the combat in a word, what is it? Is it a beat 'em up? Like, is it that kind of like button mashing focused? Like
light attack, heavy attack.
Okay. Occasionally,
and
pop
some modifier buttons hold the button down or
break their shield.
Yeah,
dodge button.
Okay,
perhaps God of Warframe.
Ooh,
yeah,
wow.
Kind of.
Okay,
yeah, it's
so
very
not
much
totally
that like
mindless, but somewhat button mashy, repetitive kind of.
Specifically, playing as Miss Marvel felt a lot like playing as dual blade Kratos. A lot of big like sweeping attacks. Like I think Jeff is right that there's not a ton of difference from character to character, but the couple of characters that felt really different, which was Iron Man and Miss Marvel, do feel different enough that I feel comfortable saying these are my favorite characters just based off the small differences around them.
There's small differences that like you can at least like differentiate and go like this is more the style I would want to play, I guess, like that sort of thing.
Until somebody else picks your character first.
Yeah, because I came away from that saying like, yeah, Iron Man feels a little bit different, and I don't like playing as Iron Man at all because the game doesn't. I'm sure maybe there are missions that feel like they're better built for the ability to fly, but in that intro sequence, which just seems like just here's this cinematic thing, you fly in that bit, and you're like, it makes sense because you're flying along the Golden Gate Bridge. But when I think about the missions I played and think about like if I had the ability to fly, it'd be like, that doesn't actually bring much to the table in these specific scenarios. So I don't know, it feels sloppy, I guess. I don't know, it's just, I think it's they don't go far enough in some areas, and there are some areas where they get out there a little bit, and I think it just feels like kind of a mess. And I don't think that for a combat focused game, I don't think the combat feels especially good.
Yeah, it feels very average character beat 'em up.
And the loot stuff is very much like you've got, like 6 slots on your character and you're getting loot and they all have numbers on them, and they helpfully have a equip best loot button you can push, which is nice. You can dust your loot to get resources to upgrade other loot, like
and there will be like when you're going to load into a mission, sometimes it'll be like, okay, a lot of enemies here are going to have cryo damage, so it gives you a chance to, okay, I have like this breastplate that gives me cryo resistance. They throw a lot of terms at you really fast, and they all match directly to like gamma is poison, cryo is freezing. Like they all kind of have a very similar, well-known video game parallel, but you have to know them all first too. And it's just like that on top of the skill tree, on top of the loot management, on top of the fact that you might be playing a character for the first time because your other character is taken. And it's a lot for not that good of a return.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it does. They clearly put a ton of work into all of these systems and all this other stuff, but it doesn't feel like it's worth playing, I guess.
I got a question. When you're playing a specific character and you pick up loot, is the loot you're picking up for that specific character, or is it just everyone?
I think all the loot I picked up was for my character, and I think there's some generic loot because there are artifact slots. Like you've got 4 character specific slots, and that'll be like it's your bracers and your chest plate and
Hulk's
whatever.
rib cage.
I was going to ask, like, what gear does Hulk have? Because he's just
literally like when you're over the chest thing, it's like a skeleton of his rib cage.
Yeah, but like that stuff doesn't show. It's not like the loot you're wearing doesn't really show because they sell costumes
on any character.
That is a superhero RPG game thing. Like they are on brand and selling you more on brand skins. Like the loot is not meant to show.
It's like the famous costumes from the comics.
That's like, Marvel Heroes. That's Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Like that's how these have all generally been.
Thank you.
That's
at least half of the appeal of loot to me is making your character look different.
Yeah, and so instead selling you like, oh, what if you instead had this iconic 50s Captain America skin or whatever the fuck.
I feel like that has to be coming from Marvel / Disney.
Probably.
Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, they
have
very
to
much
make these characters look.
I guess that's sure. Yeah.
You got to stay on brand.
Yeah. But there's plenty of loot games out there that both sell cosmetic outfits and have loot that has meaningful artistic, traits as well. So weird.
Yeah. It is what it is, and I think that they tried to cram action RPG mechanics into a game that doesn't, like the gameplay I don't think lends itself to that especially well, but also it feels like if you were to just take this as a straight up action game, it would feel very half-assed. Like I just don't think it has the chops.
It's totally in this weird middle ground where it's like they either need to do a lot more to it or scale it back a lot. Because if it was like a really kind of more generic brawler where you could you just kind of generically level up and unlock new abilities, and it was like way more like casual drop in, I feel like it could be good. Like it could be way more appealing.
More of a Marvel Ultimate Alliance kind of thing.
Yeah, or like you go the other way and really dedicate yourself to making the loot meaningful and like making the upgrades and the character differences a lot more meaningful, and it becomes more of a like prestige, like badass huge video game, but it's in this weird middle ground that doesn't kind of nail in either direction.
Yeah.
Where do you think we're at on the arc of every game has to be a service game? Like, have we hit the peak yet? Are we on the downward, the back half of the slope?
We're in the peak.
Do you think
we're in the eye of the storm?
Is this game like the peak of that trend? And like finally people are going to be like, maybe every game should not be a Destiny. Maybe every game should not have seasons and like endless grind. And you know what I mean?
I think Fall Guys even has like a
for that game it totally makes sense for that game, but like this sounds like maybe not so much.
Yeah, well, yeah, but also if this didn't have that, what would it have?
Yeah,
I don't. If this game was just like here a 12-hour action game with some light role-playing mechanics, the way that the Ultimate Alliance games were, or something like that, you would play it and go like, man, fucking give me back Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. Because 3 was also bad, and this is fucking even worse. Like it wouldn't work.
That reminds me, Jeff. Did you ever linger on a QuickTime event?
No.
So this game,
do you fail them? Like, what does it do?
It's a very cinematic game, and so like the end of a battle arena will sometimes launch into a QuickTime event where time will kind of start to slow down when the QuickTime thing pops up, and then eventually. Like Hulk will, be like going to like lift a big tank over his head and throw it, and then it just stops, and it just sits there forever with a big X prompt,
slightly animating a little bit with the tank, like waiting.
And the music's still going, and he's just standing there, and he'll stand there forever, and then you hit the button and he throws it.
Are you fucking kidding me? That's amazing.
I mean,
like no fail state QuickTime events. Like that's where we're at. Like, why is that even an interactive thing? Just make it a fucking cutscene.
Exactly.
Just make it a fucking cutscene.
Just make it look nice.
Yeah, like that's fucking crazy.
If anybody can hold a tank indefinitely over his head, it's the Hulk.
It is maybe that was just that one. Maybe that was just the Hulk taking a nap.
Look how strong this guy is.
Yeah, man. That's Marvel Heroes, and that was if we're looking at games that were like terrifying money sinks, but also still pretty good action RPGs. Marvel Heroes.
Was that completely gone? Did they 100% shut it down?
Okay. Yeah.
Huh. Weird. Was that just a licensing thing, I assume? Because
I think so.
It seems like something like that would print money.
Yeah, it kind of. I feel like that. It fell off and never quite. Maybe it just never quite regained enough traction or whatever it is. But I don't know.
This game made me reminisce of X-Men Legends.
Yeah.
It was weird because I got the same sort of feel because they're in a way similar games where all the characters are kind of similar, but then have these visual differences. But like, I kind of would rather go back and play Legacy 2 again than more of this.
Yeah, I was going to ask what your appetite is for the full game of this at this point, but maybe
I'm going to play more of it. I'm curious. I think that like the skill trees are quite expansive. Like, I feel like maybe it's one of those games where once you get to level 30, all these characters play way different. It's just getting to level 30 seems like a little bit of a chore.
Some of the screens seem to imply that maybe you would have multiple skill trees in some cases too. So I don't know. Like if there's like big end game differentiation and they do stuff with it, then sure, they could get there. But it seems like even a fully fleshed out combo system is only going to take you so far. So I don't know. I've got a lot of different service games that I would play first.
Yeah.
But to answer your actual question about like, are we at the peak of service games? Like, I think that we will be there for a while because everyone is stumbling into their own different business models, right? Sure. Where like Sony is different, has decided that they're going to try to be the prestige single player game place, for their first party output. Whereas like Microsoft is like, hey, we've got Game Pass, and maybe that affords a level of games that are not service games because the service is one level higher at the subscription level. But then you'll have some games that try to exist in both and be like, yeah, we're on Game Pass. Also, we have a bunch of microtransactions lined up for you to purchase because you didn't pay for the game. We're gonna try to hit you with a bunch of that stuff too. We'll see. It's weird right now.
Yeah, especially with new platforms quickly on the way. I had another Avengers question. I completely forgot about it. Oh well. Shall we move on?
The answer is yes.
Yes. Fall Guys? I've been playing more Fall Guys than I would have expected. Somehow, I don't know. It's been a while since I've had a kind of. Do you guys ever get into like a groove with a multiplayer game where it's just your sort of like 20 minutes a night kind of pick up and play thing? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I guess Tetris 99 was the last one of those I had where it's like I'm just gonna play 2 or 3 matches of this before dinner, just kind of unwind a little bit. Like Fall Guys.
I did that with Splatoon 2.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Fall Guys is kind of turning into that for me, and it's nice to have one of those that's not a shooter, I guess, because they used to all be shooters, but I don't know. You guys still playing much of that?
Yeah. I played a little more since the Quick Look. I got to say, the Quick Look is probably the most fun I've had with it. Getting just 4 people, connectivity issues aside.
Sure. Which is weird, though, because it's like you barely interact in that game, if at all. Like maybe you'll see one of your teammates run by.
Right.
But just like being able to bounce off you guys and like,
Sure.
Yell when I'm falling and get mad when I'm, getting launched off of something.
Yeah.
And I played a little bit like passing the controller back and forth with my partner, but anytime I've tried to play it solo, I haven't been digging it as much.
Really?
It feels like a bunch of games that I don't want to play. I haven't come out an event saying, boy, I can't wait to do that one again.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
They're all kind of boring. I don't know. I don't like the way that game controls. I feel like I wish it was just more like Gang Beasts.
Sure.
In terms of the grabs, like I feel like the number of times I've like got a jump wrong, and like in an area where if the grab was better, I could grab onto a wall and maybe climb up. I feel like if they just had the ability to just grab a wall on your way down and climb up, like I would feel a little bit better about it. Like, I caught myself, and like it's technically still taking a long time for me to do this, and that is bad because you want to be fast, but being able to save yourself on some of those seems like it would be better.
Especially
I
if
guess
they had if they had the dual hand controls of Gang Beasts, and because that gives you like a level of kind of creativity as far as how you move around, and like giving you the ability to kind of subvert their obstacles and like skill your way past them faster would be super cool.
Yeah, I feel like it just doesn't have enough buttons, or like just the like, what is it? It's grab, jump, and dive.
Yeah.
I feel like it needs, if it had, I don't know what it needs. If it, I don't want to immediately just say it needs the ability to punch, because I don't think all games need to be violent or whatever. But I feel like a more direct way to fuck with other players, because the grab doesn't really cut it. Like you can grab a guy and kind of mess with him some, but it's not. Yeah, no, I think what I'm saying is I want to be able to knock a motherfucker out.
And with the grab, though, you can push people off, kind of.
Right. Yeah, and I have managed to do that, but it doesn't feel like it's enough, and so instead it feels like, well, at least someone took the board game out of this Mario Party, so I guess it's automatically better than those. But geez, I don't know.
I think something Abby said during the video kind of really resonated with me, which was that it feels like a game that it's hard to get better at. It's a game that, like, I'm fine. I like a Mario Party every once in a while. I like a kind of RNG game once in a while, but I feel like so often than not, I'm losing rounds because like it's the seesaw round and I'm in the back spawn, and now I literally have to wait for everyone else to do the thing, or else we're all gonna die. And then I don't know.
It is absolutely a game where like at least half of the maps can just completely screw you over based on luck alone. Like you just I picked the wrong door and I got completely behind everybody else, or like
that's a case where if you're behind everybody, then they're all figuring that out for you, and you can just walk through the level and easily qualify.
So I guess there does become a little bit of a meta layer of skill of like, I'm going to let other people be the guinea pigs here and like test this out for me, and if they screw it up, then I can kind of just zoom past them.
The real worst example of it, I think, are the team games where you can just feel completely helpless.
Specifically with the egg game, you can be focused on either getting more eggs or stealing eggs or defending like the little nest. But if your teammates are kind of like not focused or not paying attention to the score counter, you could wind up losing despite you performing very well. That part's a bummer.
In weird cases where like I had like an odd number of players, it was like 9 players left, and it chose the soccer game. And so it's like 5-on-4 automatically. Like you knew 9 players were there coming in. Like why pick a team game there that is automatically going to be unbalanced? It's just weird stuff like that. I don't know. It's
I do think it's a game you can get better at it though. Like I think the physics, the controls are a little quirky and kind of.
I think a lot of it is just learning the levels. Like I feel like getting better at that game is
having
knowing what to expect, and
like the jumps, I don't know. I think Jeff mentioned something about missing jumps too. Like there's something weirdly unresponsive about the jumps. Like I find myself running off the edge with, like trying to hit the jump at the very last frame that you can is very tough for me. Like it
feels very mushy. Like I don't know if that's just a factor of like whatever the netcode is, or
maybe
or
like
whatever,
I've had people's grabs also seem weirdly laggy, so maybe that's part of it. But the point is, as I've gotten better at preloading those jumps and stuff like that, I do find myself like being at the head of the pack a lot more often. So like I think there is some skill ceiling to it. And like Jan, that shortcut you pointed out in God, I can't believe I'm learning the names of these maps. I think it's Slime Climb.
Oh, I hate Slime Climb.
Yeah, I totally do too. But those little bouncy triangle.
Oh, the pizza triangle.
Yeah, like you can. If you're good, you can bounce off of those and skip parts of the obstacles. But if you're bad, like if you run into them, they knock you down basically. So like there is some risk reward in some of those.
The one with the propellers has that too. There's that path up the center that you can kind of skip some of the other parts off of the sides.
Like more of that would make the game way more interesting to me if there were a lot more points where you could kind of game it, and like come out ahead by taking chances and stuff like that. I
think the fruit one is the dumbest because that's just completely random whether or not you're going to get nailed with an orange or a watermelon.
Yes. Yeah, we did that one in the quick look, and I took like 5 fruits to the face and like just in a row, and like I ended up getting bounced out because I just couldn't recover from that.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like I miraculously avoided all the fruits for some reason, maybe because I hung to like the right side of the map or just timing and luck.
Yeah. Also, the distribution of maps seems kind of skewed to me. Like I have not seen that fruit game again since we did the quick look. I saw it exactly once, and there's other maps that I feel like I get like every other match.
Yeah, I've only done the like the collapsing tile final once, despite wanting to play that more or get better at that.
Yeah, that one's kind of cool. Like
that one's my favorite.
There's some strategy to that one because you can like cut people off by running in front of them and kind of breaking their path and stuff like that.
The first time I played it, I like fell through. I was maintaining my position on the top really well, and I just fell through like 6 layers just through like random chance. There happened to be like 6 gaps under me, and I got to the very bottom layer, and I was like the second person there, and so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start in the middle and kind of spiral out, and that was cool. Like that one, I felt the most fun my first time playing it of any map. And I kind of wish I just had that feeling more of like, I mean, it'd be a completely different game at that point, but like if there was some more randomness I either want more randomness or less randomness. I think I'm discovering.
What if they put a board game in it?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yes.
What if the matches took like 3 hours instead of 3 minutes?
Oh, 60 players on the same board game?
Oh, man.
Hit
You
A!
deliver 60 dice roll.
Yeah, like that Hexcon game, like I think that might also be my favorite because it encourages like a lot of thinking on the fly and like strategizing and trying to screw people over and stuff, but it's so like the polar opposite of the one with all the fake doors where it's completely random. If you just pick a bad door one too many times, you're screwed and there's nothing you can do about it and there's no way to know, you know? Like one of those is completely based on chance and the other one is almost completely based on skill, you know? I wish there was a little more like a unified design philosophy on some of these, but I don't know. I think they said they're adding more maps, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, like I think this game's got potential if they kind of stretch their legs with some of the map designs coming up. Like I could see it going some interesting places.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I'll dip back in. It's fine.
I hate that I've been tempted multiple times to drop like $5 just so I can get enough kudos to buy the costume of the day.
Yeah, that rotating store. Is that just a thing everywhere now? Like just the stock rotates every day and it's just like you
Hyperscape has it too.
Yeah. You see a thing. Like I spent all my kudos on a peacock outfit because I was like, oh, I should, this may not come back around for a while. So yeah.
That's how they get you.
Yeah. Hyperscape came out on console, I believe, today, right?
Yeah, I downloaded the PS4 version this morning and took a look at it, and they didn't. Yeah, I guess maybe it's different now that everyone. So my problem with that game is that you have to open up the windows and doors in that game with an attack, and so generally you might not want to shoot your gun to open it to make your way through, and you have a stun baton that's like your melee weapon, and on the PC you've got a quick button that you can use for the melee attack. And the controls on a controller are that you have to like hold down the weapon switch button to manually switch to it and then slowly swipe and switch back. And I thought that was not great. And that's still how it is on console. They have some alternate control schemes, but I don't think any of them. I think there's one that makes it so it's faster to switch to the melee or something, but it's weird. I don't know. Anyway, it's a battle royale game. The time to kill on it is super long, and that's something that they just kind of mentioned in passing, like, hey, time to kill, we're making it a little bit shorter. But I feel like all the fights in that game are everyone running away from fights and maybe dying as they're running away, maybe not, until you get down to the smallest area, and then from there it's like then people actually shoot each other, and it just, I don't know, feels bad. Like the survivability is too much, and the abilities, the special abilities you get with like bouncing balls and all this other stuff are interesting and potentially cool, but I don't think I like the map design or the way the weapons feel or the time to kill on it. Like all that stuff, top to bottom, like just doesn't feel good. So it's pretty much how I felt about the PC version, but I wish that they had done more or just had better options for some of the console like gamepad controls.
Is there a cross-platform multiplayer?
No, it is cross-platform progress, but not play. So you don't have to go up against people with a mouse and keyboard. That'd be pretty rotten, I think. But if it is input-based matchmaking or something, maybe they could solve that. Hey, everyone in chat is saying Halo just got delayed till next year?
Yeah.
I was gonna. I mean, we got news coming up here in a minute.
What the fuck?
Unless you just, I guess we could just talk about it now.
What the fuck?
Hey,
Breaking
Halo's
news.
getting delayed to
All right,
2021.
I guess taking a little news interlude here. Let's just go ahead and talk about it now. This was posted on Twitter literally 2 minutes ago. So
What the fuck?
this is from Chris Lee, the studio head.
Why should you read that out there, Brad?
Oh man, it's pretty long. Let me skim here and talk amongst yourselves for a second.
That's what are they? What
else is coming out?
Don't like what?
Yeah, wait. That's my question. Does the console get delayed?
What do they do?
Difficult decision to shift our release to 2021. Result of multiple factors that have contributed to development challenges, including COVID-related impacts.
That's fair.
I want to acknowledge the hard work from our team. Remained committed to making a great game. It is not sustainable for the well-being of our team or the overall success of the game to ship it this holiday.
That makes total sense.
Totally,
I definitely understand why a game might not be ready for this holiday season.
Yeah, I will preface this by saying I think a lot of the dunking on that game has been kind of mean-spirited over the last week or two in a weird way, but also I was thinking that for them and everybody else shipping this holiday, Jeff, I know you've heard this a bunch of times, but I feel like the maxim from a lot of game developers is games are all fucking a gigantic mess that's on fire until the last few months before they ship.
Right.
Games generally don't come together until the very end of development. So for any team having to ship a game this holiday, to have that entire phase of development occur in the middle of this, it sounds like an absolute nightmare. I'm totally believe that would be affecting their ability to get the game done properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they are taking the feedback into consideration and thinking well, I guess we have to address that now too. And if that ends up leading to
I think it's pretty particular that they're also just saying 2021, not
not March,
a specific month,
the beginning season. Or any sort of.
But once you're delaying the game like this, you don't want to get specific right away.
No, I mean Cyberpunk did that and then had to undo it multiple times.
At this point, they may very well mean Q1, but they're just look, just say next year and we'll get there when we get there.
It's the damage
is
done.
A whole other PR hit we can wait to announce a whole new release date. Fuck. Man, that's cool. Yes. No, it's people should not kill themselves making a Halo sequel or any video game really, but
what is on that new console?
What's on that console?
Is that console coming out this year?
I feel like there's no way you can back out of a console release.
Not to just to live commentate chat here, but apparently The Verge is reporting that the Series X, if not release date, release kind of timing window will be announced today as November.
And that makes sense. I think if you have this, if you are still intending to put this console out this year and Halo just gets delayed, you have to recommit to saying yes, we are still putting out this year, or say, hey, we pushed the console back, one way or the other.
Yes.
It just ran on Xbox Wire.
Okay.
Will Tuttle himself, Xbox Wire editor-in-chief.
The Xbox Whisperer.
Xbox Series X launches this November with thousands of games spanning 4 generations.
I mean, they've put that line out there.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah, but they could have infinite games just minutes ago.
Here are the bullet points that they've got listed here. More than 50 new games planned for this year across generations and optimized for Series X, including Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dirt 5, Gears Tactics, which is already out. Watch Dogs Legion, which will be 2-3 weeks old at that point.
Yeah.
Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is, when is that out? Is that fall?
It's out. It's a launch game for Series X.
It
but
is?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it's already out in Japan.
Right.
I think.
So,
So
that's kind of that's the extent of the new games that they literally are leading with a third-party game, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
In that statement. There's some new games developed for Xbox Series X and launching with Xbox Game Pass, including exclusives like The Medium, Scorn, and Tetris Effect Connected. And then their third bullet point is just a bunch of existing games optimized to take full advantage of Series X, such as Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Madden NFL 21. So
I feel like it with the Xbox Series X, it always came back to, yeah, well, I mean, there's going to be the Halo. Like that was kind of like,
yes.
And that was the only game they would commit to for the longest time. It was like, hey, we've got Halo at launch, and it was like, okay.
Like Halo's good, but what else? And now it's just not even Halo.
Yeah. I mean, there's really not much more on the Sony side, right? Like, what first-party exclusives do they have?
It's the Astrobot.
Oh, Spider-Man is launched.
Spider-Man and
Spider-Man.
the Astro.
Yeah, well, Astrobot's packed in. I mean, it may very well be like a cool, fully fledged game, but it being packed in makes me wonder if it's kind of a bite-sized thing.
Yeah. That's I wonder if it ends up also being really hard to test because they're in that phase where they'd probably be bringing in a lot of external testers,
right? And they can't
get the hardware out. They can't get
they can't be shipping unreleased consoles to and fro, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get to it, but there's the Series X controllers out in the wild now already. Like, seems like the potential for hardware theft or leakage is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's not much left to leak. I mean, that's kind of like the point in favor of like getting all this shit announced is like once everything's known about it, then you can be a little more open with who is getting sent consoles and where and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But while you've still got that stuff being so secretive, then yeah, it gets really hard.
Yeah.
But
intrepid reporter Patrick Klepek just said, I've been hearing for much of this year that the transition to work from home amid COVID-19 was having an especially big impact on the final stretch of Halo Infinite's development. So there's that. I don't know, looking for an upside here. Maybe they'll be able to get the ray tracing support done in time for launch and have that there as opposed to sometime in the nebulous future.
Yeah.
Which, like, for all the shit they took about with the way that game looks, like that would help quite a bit.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's boy. Launching a new console.
Yeah.
Pretty hard this time around, huh?
Yeah.
And I don't envy anybody who has to do that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know if, like, should anybody buy these things?
Do you want to play Destiny 2 on a TV?
I could do that pretty well right now.
You play Madden with the
Wait, Madden?
John Madden.
Like the new one?
Not Benji Madden. No, it's a different. The new John Madden.
Okay.
Are there going to be people in the crowds?
I probably.
Is the
I hope
Washington
it's quiet.
football team going to be in it?
The Washington footballers will, I assume, be in it.
Okay.
Can I play in a bubble?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Having Assassin's Creed be the lead game in this press release that they mentioned as like, here's what's coming out, like that.
Kind of, yeah.
It doesn't.
I really thought. I mean, granted, the ship sailed whenever their last stream was, but I really would have thought they'd have a Forza ready for this.
Yeah, man. And like,
if not also a Fable, like.
Considering the like record number of people getting laid off that we're seeing and stuff like that, it's like even like the decision to first of all even buy a new console has become a lot harder, and now there's this on top of that. It's just weird time for the industry.
Yeah, and I think that I think they're doing cool stuff with like, hey, this will run all the old stuff. The different backwards compatibility stuff. I think they're doing is cool.
Their whole like hardware story, their services story, their backwards compatibility, like all across the board, they're offering short of price.
But if you don't have the games,
right? Yeah. So like, and I mean, maybe if we hear that it's $700 or something, it'll be harder to swallow. But like, short of the like first party games lineup, like everything they're pitching sounds amazing. They just don't.
If you don't have the games, then what are you buying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go out and spend that kind of money to run Forza Horizon 4 better, especially in a universe where I can already run Forza Horizon 4 better on a PC. But like if I was an Xbox as an Xbox One X owner, if that was where I primarily played console games, There's no reason left to get a Series X this year.
Like generally,
what are you buying?
The standard response to what you just said generally is, well, I don't have a PC, so that's meaningless to me. But in this case, like, even if you don't have a PC, all the games they're talking about running better are like a year to 2 years old at this point.
Right.
Like, how is that?
And you may have already played them. Like the idea of like, I'm going to go back and play, some Ori 1, like some of the stuff that they're redoing. I just, you probably already played some of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. This is weird.
It is weird. It's a lot.
And I know that I think a lot of people tend to put too much into like what a launch lineup is, because we think about like, oh, you got to launch strong, and then you go back and look at what launch games actually came out alongside a lot of these boxes, and you go like, oh man, every console launch has been terrible.
Yeah, but at least they had something.
And now they literally don't have a game. Right?
Like when they Like when they did that last stream, we sat there and rattled off most of the Xbox One launch lineup, and like it was not all great, but at least there were like a good 8 or 10 games.
And some of it was like new IP and stuff like that. You could go like, well, hey, if any of this hits, then they've got a generation's worth of sequels or whatever else. But what they literally don't have it's Gears Tactics, which has not come to console yet. Right?
Oh, sure.
Is that literally, that's only on PC?
I totally forgot that would have not come to console yet. So that's something.
Is that literally the only first-party Microsoft game that will be available at launch?
And it's not even new.
Well, new for console players.
Right, but also it's
even
not
that
new.
has everything has an asterisk next to it. But like,
yeah.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
That's a fucking.
I mean,
that is a tough hand to be dealt. Like, I feel like they've been coming a long way these past few years to figuring shit out, and then to be like, whoop, sorry, no games.
Yeah. People are saying
rough.
Flight Sim.
Is Flight Sim coming to console?
Is that?
I believe that's coming to Xbox with the launch.
Let me see. Is that mentioned in this post? Flight Sim. I don't see
not at launch.
No, not at launch.
Yeah, no date for Flight Sim. So,
oh boy.
I mean, like in a vacuum, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Dirt 5, Yakuza, and Watch Dogs Legion. Like those are not small games,
right?
And those, but also those are games that I can play in a lot of different places. Totally. Like in terms of the why you buying an Xbox,
yes. I mean, if you
argument,
but like. If you want to play all those games and you want them to look the best they possibly can on a console and you have plenty of disposable income, like there is some argument for some probably fairly small number of people.
Totally.
To buy in, but like it's a pretty like narrow, it's like a tightrope to walk.
And like, if you're a console only player and you're a big Assassin's Creed fan, then you're already like banking on that game in some extent anyway, and you're going to want to play the best version of it. So you're going to buy a new console, whether that's PS5 or Xbox, like whatever decision you make there. But also, what if I don't know. It's a wild thing. Yeah. There's been some consoles that have launched with 1 or 2 games. Very few people have tried to launch one with 0 of their own games.
I'm trying to think, like, what is the thinnest launch lineup in history? Like, how many games? Like, PS2 didn't have that much, right?
PS2 had a ton of games. They just a lot of them were shit.
Okay. Fantavision,
dude.
Yeah, Fantavision, baby.
Don't you talk
Surfing H3O, baby.
Don't you talk bad about Fantavision.
Oh, I'm just saying it was there.
Ridge Racer.
Okay, sure. I just, for whatever reason, I only remember Fantavision, Tekken Tag.
But yeah, if we're talking about like first party, I guess that's the thing. Like a lot of those are third party games. So if we're doing apples to apples and just saying first party stuff,
it's Luigi's Mansion on GameCube. That's like I just somebody mentioned the GameCube when I looked it up, and it's a bunch of third party stuff, and then Luigi's Mansion.
Oh god,
wasn't Wave Race launch? Was Wave Race a GameCube launch game?
Is Wave Race first party?
Yes.
Chat pointing out N64 literally had Mario 64 and Pilot Wings.
Which is that's a really strong case until you think about what Mario 64 was. Like, actually,
you launched with one of the best games ever made.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good launch game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the Switch had 1-2 switch, baby.
What did the Wii U have?
I mean, they also launched with one of the best games ever made. So.
Yeah.
They had that cutout game. What was that called?
Snipper Clips.
Snipper Clips. That game was all right.
The Legend of Zelda.
I'm a little confused by this second bullet point in this blog post. New games developed for Xbox Series X and launching with Xbox Game Pass. And they mentioned like the Medium and Scorn. Are those launch day games?
Yes.
Because I mean, those are
all they're saying is that those games will be on Game Pass,
but not
when they
necessarily day one.
Not necessarily day one.
Okay, so those cannot be counted as launch games then.
We don't know. They haven't gotten specific about some. Well, so some of those I think maybe got announced for not this year. But
okay.
Yeah, you look at this press release or this thing that they wrote up that is not a press release, but is it's a real song and dance. It's a real like look over here. We're gonna write Gears Tactics twice and then hope that you like it's real, like the whole like we have thousands of games thing over here. I think is like they're not wrong, and I think that part of it is cool. But the way that they have been leaning on it, and now the way they're going to have to continue leaning on it, it feels like a real. We're gonna shake these keys over here and hope you don't notice the void over here.
Hey, you know what? One of those thousands of games is Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. So
I mean,
maybe it's the best launch lineup ever conceived.
Yeah, I mean that thing will ostensibly run Titanfall 2, which is the greatest game of this generation. So what? Hey,
day one.
Yeah, man, it's
what a wild time.
I don't know, man. It's fucking crazy.
Weird.
It's going to be like they're going to bring back that thing where they put the screenshots of all the games on the back of the box, but you're going to turn it over and it's just going to be green. You're like, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. It's a lot to take in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot to take in. Yes. I'm going to be very interested to see how they handle positioning and all this other stuff from here on out. And if they end up having something else to announce, but I don't think so.
What else could they? Well, it sounds like Lockhart is coming this month and probably price.
That doesn't help. Another console with no games on it does not help the situation.
I'm not saying that's a good thing, but software wise, yeah. Like, how could they? I mean, it's not like. Games are like whiskey, right? Like you have to plan like years in advance for that. You can't just like spin up more when there's demand, like you gotta lead it by so much time like that. What else could they do?
I don't know. I mean, you saw that they stepped away from the Xbox 2020 branding, right? Yeah.
Which that was what they were originally pitching as their kind of monthly video stream sort of thing, right?
And then they were like, oh, actually, we're just gonna have news whenever. Which is probably smart because it especially in this situation, because it takes some of the, those things I think came with a certain amount of expectation of this is going to be a big deal. And then they kind of weren't.
Yeah, that creates a whole lot of pressure on them to deliver something meaningful every time they do a stream.
Right. It hasn't gone so well for them. So man, holy shit.
Yeah.
I can't, I'm sure it's the right thing for the game.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it if otherwise, but
yes, on some level, I have a great deal of respect for them making this move.
Yes,
if they don't think it's ready and they think they're going to kill the team to get it out,
it's a big move.
And they can't afford to fuck up Halo. The last couple of Halo games, I feel like people have been not feeling them the way that they felt classic Halo, and they have basically one more chance,
especially if
get that shit right.
Meant to be a service-y lifetime game, right?
Yeah. They're saying this is the next 10 years of Halo are going to be based on this game.
Yeah. So, by this time next year, this probably won't even be a thing that we're thinking about. But,
yeah,
holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
They delayed Halo.
Dude, they delayed Halo. All right, are we done being flabbergasted by this?
I guess so.
Yes.
Man, Brad, when you said you were the wild card of the team, I didn't expect you were going to delay Halo.
Really, I had to do something, man. Somebody's got to make the tough decisions. All right. we should probably take a break after that. There's really nothing else to do from there except go cool our jets for a few minutes and come back, and they delayed Halo. All right, be right back. All right, we're back. It's time for the news. First headline, they delayed Halo.
What?
Halo.
Wait,
Infinite,
again?
Halo Infinite's development cycle will now be functionally infinite. Talk about it. How do you feel after another 10,
well, see, the
10
GameCube
minutes?
had Wave Race and Luigi's Mansion.
Let this roll around in your head for a few more minutes. Any new thoughts?
This is bad. It's
Is
not
it?
good.
Is it? I guess so. Well,
I mean,
it's good for the game. Let's say.
Yes, like I'm trying to picture it from like the perspective of just like if you're the person who has to make those calls and accept those calls, like that's the, you have to look at it and go like, well, we have to stand by the team, we have to make sure the game is good. And imagine if they were to put it out this year, what would it look like? Like what compromises would have to be made?
Yeah.
Then you look at the Master Chief Collection and that like seemingly endless debacle where they had to start putting out beta versions of updates and for a very long time afterwards. And you think about like the somewhat tepid reaction to Halo 5. It's the right thing for Halo. It's a crazy thing for a console launch.
Yes.
And like that, man.
Yeah. Something second chance to make a first impression. Like obviously
Totally.
if the game is better when it comes out, that will be good for the Halo brand.
But that goes for the console also.
Yeah.
You saw what happened to the Xbox One. The first impression was bad. The first impression was, hey, this thing's always online. Hey, this thing is, like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying this will make the difference, but the crucial difference here is that at least there's not the perception that they are trying to screw you over every way they can.
Yeah,
like
it is.
They're just not selling it.
Right.
They have done the right thing at every turn, seemingly.
Yeah. Except for get some new games out.
Yeah, but I mean that's they bought all these studios. Like they can talk about the pipeline. They can talk about all the stuff they have coming, like all this other stuff. But like if you look at it as like, hey, we got this game. We got this thing coming out in a couple months here. Like, oh, why should I get it? Plays thousands of games. Oh, really? Like what?
Destiny 2?
Destiny 2.
High frame rates.
You like Assassin's Creed? Like, yeah, I mean, I don't dislike Assassin's Creed. I think new Assassin's Creed looks fine. They're a few games in on this style of Assassin's game, and that's okay, fine. But you can't lead a console launch with a fucking game that is also going to appear on the PlayStation 5.
Right.
Exclusives don't matter until they do, I guess, is the other part of this, right? Like this is a thing where, if you've got people trying to make a decision with hundreds of dollars in the balance about a console they want to buy, one or the other, like all that stuff gets real weird. Like this is a rubber meet the road sort of situation for Microsoft's whole concept of, we've got an ecosystem. You can play it on all these different devices. Hey, you can maybe play it on some phones now. You can play on your Xbox One. You could get a new Xbox. You could get no fucking Xbox. I don't know. Like that stuff only works if you've got the games and if all your games are available on every platform. So it doesn't matter. It's not something that pushes people in the direction of an Xbox per se. And you don't have anything that makes it stand out other than look at the strength of our ecosystem. You can play these games kind of anywhere, sort of, as long as you have the right phone. The content is king, right? That's what they say.
Yeah.
It's what they made all those T-shirts up to say, hey, buddy, content is king. You're all laid off.
Yes.
Hello, content creators. Sorry, Facebook fucked us over. You're all gone.
I mean, maybe they are. I'm sure on some level they are perfectly happy if people stick with their current Xbox One and just continue subscribing to Game Pass and streaming the games that
Absolutely.
they played on a Series X.
Of course.
Although, have we talked about this at all? What do you think if you are on any model of Xbox One and you continue subscribing to Game Pass and Shit, I need a game example to make this question work. But like, what is now? Fuck. I mean, now that we don't have Halo, I actually don't know how to ask this question. But like, what I was going to ask was, if you have a game on Game Pass that you can stream that is a new game that has a Series X version, blah blah blah, like has a nice like 4K version or whatever.
Right.
What version of the game do you think you're streaming if you only have like say a launch model Xbox One?
Well,
do you think they're delivering the Series X?
They are not going to deliver
graphics to
Series
you?
X. Series X will not exist in xCloud until
Okay.
sometime next year.
Okay.
So, but I would assume that once that is available, that will be the only version you will see.
Okay, because on GeForce Now, you have to pay to get the RTX version of the games that you're streaming.
Right.
They have straight up pricing tiers based on the quality of the graphics you're getting. But that does not seem like a Microsoft-like solution to stratify the quality of the experience you're getting based on what you're paying. So.
Well, but you do, yeah, exactly. Like then it becomes like, do they tier it out in another way where it's like, hey, if you want the Series X version of these games in the cloud, that's going to be an additional fee. Like, I don't think they can get away with it.
Yeah. No way.
Yeah.
But also it might just be a reality of like, hey, it might be hard to get as many of those in the cloud, in the servers, in the racks.
But from the consumer's perspective, you can't just stick with your Xbox and keep your Game Pass sub and suddenly get the better looking games this fall.
Except that they haven't actually said that you'll be able to do xCloud from any Xbox. Right now, they're only talking about Android devices, not web browsers, not like other, and presumably they will get there. Yeah. But
have they literally not said that you can use it on an Xbox?
All of the talk about it coming out this year is literally about Android phones.
All right, we should just move on to that then, because that was the big story until the Halo delay.
Yeah,
which is that Apple has basically come out and confirmed, like it seemed like it was trending in this direction, but I was hoping they would figure out a way around it, but apparently they have not. They have confirmed that as of right now, with their current App Store guidelines, services like Microsoft's xCloud and Stadia will not be appearing on iOS.
It's not a surprise, but to have them come out and say it is still just like, yeah, right, of course.
It's kind of a surprise to me because Valve finally found a way to get around it with their Steam stuff, right? And like PlayStation, not now, but whatever the PlayStation like home streaming is available.
So the home streaming, I think that's if you read the App Store guidelines around like remote desktop
there's weird
style things, there. Like they're if you're streaming from your own network, your own devices and stuff like that, like that's a different thing than any of the xCloud, like, hey, play from some server rack. And so that's how Steam works, I guess. But like you can buy games on Steam from their app, which I wonder, are they then giving Apple 30% of that? Or like what the fuck is the deal?
Right.
I don't know. But I mean this isn't shocking considering that Stadia has not made its way to Apple devices yet. I mean, there's a Stadia app, but you can't actually play games on it. So it's pointless.
Yeah. I guess we should spell it out. The core of the decision, at least as far as they are claiming, is that these apps essentially act as a portal to other quote-unquote apps, or games in this case, and Apple can't expect to vet every one of those games they're giving you access to. So they're basically pitching it as a quality control issue of, who knows what they're going to serve you through this one app that you download through our store. Like you might have your identity stolen for all we, you know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing. It's almost it's almost a Nintendo-like situation of like, we are trying to protect you from the internet here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which, I think, when you think about the number of like fucked up apps that are probably try to shove themselves through Apple's pipeline all the time and have made their way onto Android phones one way or the other, like there's a lot of bad shit out there. And so I get the notion of just like, we want to try to actually have some kind of wall here that helps protect users. It's just, this is a case where it's like, Microsoft and Google are not going to, like these services are not going to actually do that. Yeah. The way that they are claiming, they just don't want to create exceptions, except for the part where, like, was it just last week with all the, what was it, talking to Congress with Tim Cook, or like all the anti-competitive Apple stuff that was going around, and like as part of that, they were like, oh, they gave a sweetheart deal to Amazon, early on to give them a better rate. So Apple clearly will play ball in some situations.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there, other than just like Apple probably wants a bigger cut of that business to make it right, and no one wants to give them that cut.
Yeah. Microsoft does say we are committed to finding a path to bring cloud gaming with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate to the iOS platform. I don't know what that
Microsoft Edge coming to iPhone
right
with miracle gamepad support. Yeah, I don't know.
I hope they get it there because a lot of people have iPhones.
Well, even on the Android side of things, there's like a different experience depending on which store you have or which version of the Game Pass app you've downloaded, because the standard Google Play version of the app will not have any kind of in-game purchasing or anything like that. It'll just stream games. You can play the games. But then Microsoft went and cut a deal with Samsung and was out on their stage last week. And the version you get from Samsung's app store will have the ability to purchase, in-game, microtransactions, like all that other shit. So, even on the Android side, some of that stuff is a little weird. And, obviously, like Epic has had very public things to say about the Google Play Store and like the Google's policies there and all that sort of stuff.
Didn't they just put out a straight up APK of?
They did.
Fortnite at one point.
They just said, "Fuck you, download from us, sideloaded."
Download this game.
And I think they eventually did just put it on the Google Play Store. I think they did eventually kind of cave on that and say, "This sucks. We're still fighting. This sucks though." And yeah, I don't know. All that stuff. All that stuff is a mess, and I think I get why Apple would do this. It's frustrating and all that sort of stuff, but I get why Apple would continue to hold this perspective. So it's I don't know what the answer is other than just you have to give Apple's cut and figure out what that cut is in order to be there. And but I don't know. Like to me, the interesting thing about xCloud and that style of streaming for me was always like, I'm on a laptop in a hotel room on the road.
Yep.
It was never about playing from a phone. That was always like, oh, that's kind of cool that they can do that. But I only ever see that as a thing that I would use on the road on a bigger screen than that. I
tried it once in an airport.
Yeah,
that was it.
I could see situations where I might not be traveling with a laptop, but I would have an iPad there.
Yeah.
And that would be crappy. But anyway, hopefully they'll work it out. I have at least two other Xbox stories I was going to get to, but then...
Did you hear that Halo got delayed?
I feel like we need
Is that one of them?
What?
Well, I started to say I feel like we need to address this that just got pasted in the chat, but then I see this happened 2 days ago and nobody's really talking about it. But the Def Jam's out there teasing a new Def Jam game.
Oh, I don't know.
I saw that.
That's someone working social for the Def Jam account going like, I've got to get engagement up.
Yeah, because yes, in the follow-up tweet, they're all, once our Twitter hits 1 million, we have a special announcement for y'all.
They hit 1 million.
The streets are always talking about Def Jam.
And they didn't
fight for New York.
And they didn't make a special announcement?
No.
Maybe it'll be coming today.
I mean, they straight up tweeted a screenshot of, I don't know which one is this.
Coming to Xbox Series X launch.
I don't know if is this Fight for New York? I don't know which screenshot they posted here.
Yeah.
How does Luda look
one
like?
of those?
Yeah.
He's like,
oh, this is Fight for New York.
Okay.
Method Man's rocking the ice pick.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's some deep Def Jam knowledge. Respect.
A lot of people talking shit about Def Jam Icon in the replies to that, to which I say, go fuck yourselves. Def Jam Icon is totally okay. It's a different game. That doesn't mean it's bad. Applying a wrestling engine to a fucking hip-hop fighting game seemed like a weird choice anyway.
Sure.
E40 could go like this and make turntable things and then go like this and then the gas pump would explode.
E40
That was pretty tight.
Like, how the fuck do you feel like, oh, Def Jam Icon's garbage? Like, go fuck yourself. That game is cool. Just because it's not a fucking Aki fucking wrestling engine game. Assholes.
I didn't know E40 rated a video game appearance.
Oh, yeah.
He's your rapper's favorite rapper.
That's okay. All right. You know what? That's a respectable position to be in. All right. Let's get back to the Microsoft stories we were going to follow on from that iOS stuff. There's been a bunch of speculation flying around the last couple weeks that they are going to eliminate Xbox Live Gold. They shut off the ability to subscribe for 12 months, which was the best deal that you could get for that. And I guess I had missed this until the story, but they made a bunch of changes in some of their like legal phrasing to remove the phrase Xbox Live Gold and replace it with Xbox Online Service. Lowercase. So people felt like they were probably just going to deprecate that service and roll it into Game Pass, but they have come out and said no, that Xbox Live Gold will continue to be a thing. They say this phrasing, the change in language, Xbox Online Service, is also meant to refer to things like cross saves, like some of the other not for pay online features that they provide around the Xbox account now. So making that distinction, but yeah, it sounds like paid multiplayer will continue to be a thing on the Xbox.
Yeah. Okay. So you still have to pay to play.
Yeah, they're not officially killing it. They're just making it so that you would basically be nuts to not get Game Pass Ultimate. Like that's just kind of best deal situation.
Right. And it makes sense to like streamline their offering in terms of just like, here are the, like it gets confusing at a point if you're coming into it fresh and you're like, wait, do I need this or do I need this? I need both. Like, what am I getting here?
Yeah.
Like it probably makes sense for them to just point people in the direction of Game Pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think like Microsoft in particular, like them having this continued push towards a device agnostic approach and letting people play on the PC and all this other stuff. Like it literally becomes like, okay, well, thank you for buying our console. Now you get to pay an additional fee on top of that to do the thing that people on PC get to do for $0 additional dollars.
Yeah.
And I think that sucks.
Yes.
In the end, like they want all those people to be Game Pass members. And if that stuff's going to come with Game Pass, then it's like, hey, maybe you would be paying that fee anyway, because Game Pass would be something you would want no matter what. But if they're going to continue to offer the option, I think it's still, it just doesn't make any sense at some point. You will certainly have people that like don't subscribe to Game Pass, but they do buy Call of Duty or whatever, and then they want to play that on the internet, and you'll hit them up for Xbox Live Gold, I guess.
Yeah,
but
which has now gotten more expensive for them because they're going to have to keep stacking 3-month extensions to their subscription rather than a year at a time.
Right, or at some point they just get Game Pass, and does that end up working out in their favor? I don't know. Like the Game Pass, the Ultimate is like $15 a month, right? So maybe that's significantly more money.
Yes. I don't know how much was Live Gold a year by the time they shut it down.
It's like 50, 60, something 50? Like that.
Like I've had Game Pass Ultimate for the last couple of years. I'm not sure where they left off at.
I'm not. Yeah, I want to say it was still in the 50 or 60 range because PSN went up to 60, didn't it?
Yes, I believe that's right.
I believe it is 50.
Yeah. All right, last Microsoft news. The Robot White version of the Xbox Series X/S controller is out in the wild.
Yeah, all right.
So, like, this is like 3 stories in one, I guess, because the box straight up confirms the Xbox Series S name. It says it right there on the side. It says the controller is for Xbox Series X and Series S. Also, I guess this guy, it seems like there's been a handful of these around, but I guess this guy was maybe the first on Twitter to post photos of the one he got, which he apparently bought from a place called OfferUp for $35.
All right.
Which I never heard of that store, and also that's really cheap for a controller.
Yeah.
Sounds like it fell off a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't look too deeply into it. It sounds like some of these controllers may have in fact been stolen.
Sounds like I saw the word going around that maybe they were in the Chicago area.
Yeah, yes, that was my understanding. Although, why would they be out in retail this early to begin with? Is this kind of thing that you think?
OfferUp is not retail.
No. But why would they be like? There had to be somewhere in the retail distribution chain already.
I mean, they could be loading up a warehouse full of them, and some of them fell out.
Sure.
But
okay, I had thought these had come from a retail establishment or something, but maybe it was earlier on than that.
But also they do work with PCs and stuff, so it's theoretically you could just use them now.
That's what I was getting at. What I was leading up to is I wonder if that implies they're planning to launch these controllers before the console, potentially. Like that.
I don't know.
That is a kind of cheap way to generate some buzz about your console, right? To say like, oh, the accessories are out there now. You can.
They work with thousands of games,
right? Get this fancy controller that has a whole third button in the middle, which is what is that? A share button?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
looks all right.
I don't need a share button on a controller. It turns out, after a generation of playing a fair amount of console games on one that has a share button,
I use mine a bit.
Yeah, it's nice.
I like how it is on a Switch.
It's nice if you want to grab a quick screenshot, but I don't know how I feel about the D-pad on this thing going back to the kind of 360 scooped disc looking deal, but
it's like it's like the scooped disc on the Elite controllers more than the 360. So
I guess they figured that stuff out well enough.
Yeah, that stuff that's a good if it feels like the Elite controller, that's actually a pretty good D-pad on that thing.
Anyway, Xbox Series S. I guess they just need to announce it at this point. Because it's
basically, give them a couple weeks here.
Basically confirmed. Yeah. Let's see.
A lot of people angry about the name.
Series S.
Series S.
Yeah, like the confusion around the naming.
Oh, I get it, but I feel like that anger should have peaked when they announced Series X, right? Because it was obvious that's the direction they were going.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, I think I get the argument that like it's weird that that those are two letters used for the previous generation of Xboxes, and that will be confusing.
No.
But I think that by the time these things get out there, aren't they gonna like not be selling old Xboxes all that much?
They are still going to be selling the Xbox One S.
Right.
They are going to continue.
You know, that stuff's going to go out of stock, and they're going to, we'll see what the pricing is on the Series S and see where it all sits. But it just doesn't seem like they are intending for Xbox Ones of any stripe to be on shelves for a significant amount of time. Right. I mean, like they want people to move up. And if they price accordingly, that won't be a big deal. But I don't know.
I mean, obviously they want to train people to think, X means premium, S means entry level, and just have that be the ongoing branding. Like you would assume they would do this yet again in 6 or 7 years if there are more like Xboxes. But
X stands for extreme, and S stands for
sup.
Sup.
Just hanging out with my mid-level Xbox, just chilling out.
Sup.
Play some games.
Just hanging out, sucking ass.
Sup. Yeah. This game looks all right. I mean, 1080p, whatever. What are you going to do?
Looks good on my TV. I don't know,
man. I don't disagree. I mean, I'm sure they think like, oh, we've got established branding that people understand, but that sure worked out well for Nintendo and the Wii U, right?
Right, but yeah. Well, when you're coming off of the Wii, that's a different, like you're getting a different level of mainstream interest or attention from like, it's a follow-up to the Wii. I have a Wii. Like all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
I don't think Xbox has that specific problem. I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
This doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
In other news, AT&T has messaged employees of the gaming division of Warner Brothers, basically kind of trying to reassure them that they are not, in fact, going to sell them off.
Okay.
Yes, sell them as people because it's 2020 and corporations own you physically now. Those rumors have been flying around. Like 1 week it was Microsoft, the next week it was EA talking about suitors to pick up the Warner Studios, including NetherRealm, Rocksteady,
Monolith.
I keep forgetting about Monolith. Poor Monolith. Traveler's Tales, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Part of that?
Yeah. That would be part of that. Yeah.
The Lego folks. Anyway, this came out of internal emails to employees. Sounds like they are doing some corporate reorg stuff, kind of shifting divisions around a little bit, but as of right now, they are telling people internally they are not selling those studios off. So,
but that's not so. Like this, you sent around this Eurogamer story about this, and I don't read that. That's not what I get out of this.
I admit the language is a little bit vague. Warner Brothers Interactive remains part of the studios and networks group.
Like to me, if you're doing a reorg and not reorging part of a group, that could just as easily be a sign that you're not bothering because you're going to cut it off and spin it out.
Yeah, it is.
Or sell it off or something where you're like, it remains part of the studio's networks group. But
it is possible. That's the beautiful thing about carefully manicured corporate language.
Yeah.
It could kind of mean anything.
Yeah. So I don't know that's like, there's something about like, because Eurogamer definitely frames it as like, hey, it looks like AT&T is not like maybe has changed its mind about selling that stuff, but like the quotes they're taking from that internal mail like don't read that way to me at all. They just read super ambiguous, like, yeah, this group's staying part of this.
Yeah.
Like you don't
For
find out you're
now.
getting sold until you're getting sold.
Yeah. They can't spook people, right? They have to keep people calm in the midst of an acquisition because you don't want a bunch of people leaving before an acquisition.
Yeah. Especially if the fandom is headed your way.
That's right.
They did, however, lay off like a ton of people from DC Comics and like DC Universe stuff. Like there's
Marvel too.
There's the whole that was yesterday, I think, that they cut a bunch of like the editorial staff from the comic side.
Thanks. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That it absolutely does not completely preclude the possibility that they will, in fact, still be sold.
Yeah.
Hard to say. I'm looking for the timing on the fandom now.
It's like 11 days out. Was it like the 22nd or something?
Oh, is
22nd.
Well, that's the same day as this Rocksteady announcement then, apparently.
At the fandom.
Also,
the fandom.
Also, Gal Gadot and The Rock are going to be there?
Am I the only one who doesn't know what the fandom is?
You're the only one who doesn't know about the epic times waiting you at the DC Fandom.
What's the fandom?
Ben, I bought us
It's a
tickets
fucking-
to go to the fandom.
It's a fucking virtual event where they're going to announce a bunch of DC shit.
Okay, so it's
Some
virtual.
of it will be video games.
It's not an actual because when you say fandom, I think of the NBA bubble. I think of like an actual in-person event in an actual dome where you like quarantine yourself inside the dome for 2 weeks and then you can go meet Gal Gadot and The Rock and cough on them and everyone will be like, it's fine. We're quarantined.
Ninjas penetrate the fandom.
Oh, do you think since The Rock now owns part of the XFL, they're going to rebrand all the teams to be DC teams at
Yes.
the fandom?
Yes, they'll all be DC. Yes.
The San Francisco Batmen.
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah.
They use bats, and also they will carry baseball bats onto the field, which will be
Yeah.
The San Diego Crocodiles. Isn't he a Batman guy? I don't know DC.
Crazy Croc.
The Croc?
Yeah,
Swamp-
Killer Croc.
Killer
Yeah.
Croc.
Swampo.
St. Louis Swampos.
Did you say Swampo?
Yeah,
Swampo. Yeah.
Swampo.
Swampus?
Yikes. Yeah, Rocksteady got out there and tweeted about their Suicide Squad game, which I guess confirms that Rocksteady is making a Suicide Squad game.
What?
Wait till I tell you what's happening with Halo.
Wait, what's happening with Halo?
I
We have a baseball bat. Is The Rock in Halo?
maybe.
Oh.
Is he that grunt?
Is Halo with the fandom?
No, The Rock looks way better than that.
He's going to play that grunt. I don't know. Had the Suicide Squad leaks gotten so intense that Rocksteady just had to get out there and very inauspiciously announce this? Like,
Did
You
they?
know, if it generates hype for the fandom,
I guess,
then
yeah, maybe
why
yes,
not?
maybe there are bigger forces behind this, but like the entirety of the tweet is just target locked, hashtag DC Fandom, August 22nd, hashtag Suicide Squad game.
Oh my God, they're gonna blow up the fandom.
The Rock is the only one who can stop the destruction of the fandom.
I think it's the hashtag Suicide Squad game that gets me. It just sounds so like cold and like marketing driven.
Hashtag Suicide Squad game.
Like what is
someone
the actual? You can't even be bothered to say the name of this game that all these people work
what's
their
our
asses
official
off for.
hashtag gonna be?
Right.
What do we?
It's just like it's a Suicide Squad game. Whatever.
Well,
Don't worry about it.
the names that went around for it would be too long for a hashtag anyway, wouldn't it?
Maybe. Yeah, I guess they registered a bunch of domains.
But
and
you know,
stuff.
what are you doing with your Twitter account if you're not using it to market your upcoming shit?
Oh, sure,
I mean,
sure.
It's
more
Twitter. It's what it's fucking for.
It just feels a little dismissive of the game that they have not even talked about publicly at all yet. You know,
Yeah.
like for this to be the first official messaging from Rocksteady about what this game is, just feels kind of underwhelming. Who is that in this picture? Is that Superman? That's totally
People are
Superman, right?
saying it might be Bizarro Superman.
Suicide Steve.
What?
Yeah, bizarre, because he has a little bit of purple.
What?
That's like
And he
a
looks
Bizarro
angry.
thing.
Does he have a goatee? Is that
No.
Is that how you know he's Bizarro?
He just
No,
looks
he
a little
talks-
like
he talks funny.
No.
he looks like he could use some lotion.
But like, isn't it just gonna be like, oh, cool? Hey guys, Superman's evil again. He got into the red
What?
stuff, or he got into the bad. He hit his
Kryptonite.
head. He
The
like
sun's
he
not
grew a
out for
stubble
long
beard, and now he's super pissed all the time. You know, isn't it just gonna be that? Like, I feel like isn't every story that they have to. They're like, we gotta be edgy shit, man. You're gonna play as bad guys. Ooh, and like we made Superman evil. Like what? Like it's just like isn't
Shades of
isn't
gray.
just- aren't they just doing that again?
Moral ambiguity.
Pretty much. It's
Because Superman's just a fucking pathetic character to begin with, and this is the only thing they've got. I don't know. Whatever. We'll see what the game is, but like, it's
See
like
if
the idea
Superman-
of just like, oh man, you gotta kill Superman.
if Superman had a tail instead, and he got his tail ripped out as a child, and then his best friend, whose ball just keeps dying all the time,
Lex Luthor.
yeah. And then Superman needed to collect like 7 magical mystical balls that summoned a dragon to grant a wish. That'd be a different
I
story.
see where you're
If I had
going
to
with
play
this.
as like Vegeta and his posse on a quest to kill evil Goku,
Yeah, if you played as the Ginyu Squad.
yeah, if it was just
Oh.
a Ginyu Squad
The
game,
Ginyu Squad game.
Oh,
Now that's a
Hashtag
game.
Ginyu Squad game.
yeah.
Look, I know it's called the Ginyu Force, folks. Before you get too mad.
Isn't the Suicide Squad like 20 people or something?
it's like a varying group
Like
of people.
Who do you actually
characters.
play in this? Is it going to be a big...
They're gonna throw in Harley
You're
Quinn.
gonna be Harley Quinn. You're gonna be Deadeye,
just-
Bullseye,
John Cena.
Okay.
Not Deadbolt.
Captain Boomerang.
Sure.
The Joker.
Deadshot? No. Deathstroke.
Dead Gun.
All right.
It's gonna be like much like the DC movies. It's gonna be that Marvel game, but kind of worse and darker.
All right. Maybe it's not just an Arkham Asylum type game, but with Suicide Squad. Maybe it's actually something different. I don't know. I'm sitting here trying to picture in my head what this game might look like, and I don't know.
Character-based third-person action brawler with skill trees, loot.
What if? What if?
If only we could have a video game that had those things in it. Am I right? Man, someday.
Yeah.
You have to wait for Godfall for that.
Is Pete Davidson going to be in this game?
I hope not.
I don't know. All right. On to the next story. I totally, in the news stories I usually send to you guys, I meant to put a link to the PlayStation State of Play last week.
Right.
Just be like, hey, let's talk about that. And I forgot, so hopefully you
Spelunk
remember.
is out in like a month,
Yeah, hopefully you remember what happened at that thing, such as Spelunky 2's release date got announced to be like, barely a month from now.
Yeah.
Because they had previously just said it was this year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're running out of year.
Yeah,
so
it's true. It's true. But still, that's
I think they originally announced it's like 20.
as a wise man once said,
Well,
that's
yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
that is soon.
And that's pretty goddamn exciting. That was,
I hope that's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
It sure looks good. To my mind, that was the biggest thing that they had there. They showed off some Bug Snacks, which is apparently a first-person game.
Yeah.
Showed an awful lot of Godfall. An awful lot.
Weird way.
How'd that look? How did that
Yeah, it
look?
looks
That was like the one PS5
fine.
thing. Well, I guess Bug Snacks. They showed a little bit of that, but like,
Yeah. It
but
looks-
they positioned this as like, hey, it's going to mostly be VR and PS4 stuff. So like, here's like, but also like, hey, Hitman will be in VR.
Yes, so the Hitman, I was leading up to Hitman VR. I'm not sure how I feel about that. That sounds terrifying.
Just imagine like like throwing an object and having it track someone and hit them on the head as they're getting away on
Okay,
a jet.
all right, I'm in. I want
A speedboat.
That's all 3 Hitmen. Hitman's the recent trilogy of new Hitmen 1, 2, and 3 will all get VR support, which is fucking wild.
VR breaking of necks is like,
Yeah.
and choking people out is what this has all been leading up to.
I guess I have to buy new PlayStation Moves finally. Finally, they convinced me.
I don't know where my PlayStation VR headset is. I think it's in the office somewhere, but I have like new, still wrapped up
Oh, wow.
PlayStation Moves over here.
Wow.
So I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Hopefully, when they get around to updating VR stuff on the PlayStation side of things, they will have a better solution than those fucking moves.
Hopefully, the moves will still work though. You can just keep moving. They
There's
showed off
another game.
Did Godfall just look like too human?
Yeah.
That's what everybody kept saying. I feel like I think I've repressed memories of Too Human enough that I couldn't
Smart.
make the comparison.
Smart.
but-
Yeah.
Godfall is a looter slasher with a robust loot progression system and has no microtransactions.
God, that's right. They did use the phrase looter slasher, didn't they?
Does it have its own porno subreddit yet, or are we waiting for after launch for that?
I mean, that dude's face does look like a lion, so
great.
We'll get there. I'm quite sure. They showed off a game called Eon Must Die that looked pretty cool. I think it looked kind of a side-scrolling beat 'em up sort of game. Is that the what you
really
got out
cool,
of that?
stunning visuals,
nice, like kind of neon-looking aesthetic. And then a bunch of accusations were leveled at
like immediately.
Yeah, like it's a little hard to parse because I guess the accusations were leveled at the studio that claims to be putting it out, but the accusations came from the people who say they did all the work on the game without any contracts in place or any payment happening, and that the IP was essentially stolen from them.
And that
Cool.
trailer was made by like another group, right?
Yes, I believe that's the read that I'm getting. It sounds like most of these people that did the work all kind of mass resigned from the studio at some point. They basically claimed unbearable work conditions with endless crunch, harassment, abuse, corruption, and manipulation. The company and the entire IP was covertly taken from the founder. They say that the trailer infringes on the IP of people who have worked on scenes from it without contract and who were not paid at any point. So
This seems like something. I guess, yeah, there's like a statement from Focus Home Interactive, which is publishing the game, going like, "We're going to look into this."
Very, very boilerplate, but also yes, as the publisher of as the publisher of this video game.
I feel like that's something that, like, when you're vetting games for your State of Play showcase, you try to figure out on the Sony side.
Yeah.
Like, hey, are we accidentally showcasing a game that someone is going to claim is illegal minutes after we show it?
Well, I mean, from Sony's perspective, they probably just worked with somebody at Focus, and that's as far as that. You know, they would expect.
Okay, then
Focus to do the due diligence to make sure that they are publishing a game that is on the up and up, but apparently not.
We'll see.
We'll see how this stuff shakes out. Obviously,
I have a feeling the Focus might have known about that a little bit before that all happened. It seems like something that would be very hard to just happen in the background, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
If not, then Focus is really bad at vetting the studios they're working with, I guess.
Yes,
I don't know.
at minimum, if all this stuff is true, at minimum, they look negligent in this situation. If not, straight up nefarious, depending on what they knew about it. But I do like that a lot of these accusations were made through a Dropbox that just was made public. That they just uploaded stuff from the game to this Dropbox. They're just like, hey, look at this shit. Fuck this. So, developing story there. Was looking. That's not a PS5 game, right? That's PS4. Yes, that's PS4, Xbox One. That's a current gen game. They also showed a trailer for the second DLC pack for Control. You remember Control? It's a good game. Yes, AWE, which in my mind stands for the Alan Wake experience. I don't think they've
one of my favorite prog bands.
I don't think they've come out exactly said what it means, but it's Alan Wake. Like they are. You know, that art they put out pitching this DLC, like, late last year, I think?
Yeah, when they put out the roadmap, but here's what's coming to Control. Like, it was very much like, here's the Alan Wake thing.
Yes. So
and there's references to in the game.
There's tons of Alan Wake stuff in Control proper, so that stuff is not surprising at all. What is kind of surprising is that after this trailer went up, Sam Lake from Remedy, Max Payne himself, put up this blog post saying, or AWE, the first Remedy Connected Universe crossover event. And he basically goes on to, the tagline, we love to put Easter eggs into our games, but what if some of them were more than Easter eggs? What if it's all connected? And then he goes
like
on
Tetris Effect. Okay.
Yes, we're all connected.
I'm with him. Yeah.
Like that full on, they are full on branding the Remedy multiverse here. He talks about how excited he is to get this off the ground, that they've been working on it for a while, that the AWE expansion is the first official Remedy Connected Universe crossover event, bringing more Alan Wake lore into Control. And this is still just a humble beginning. We're already hard at work on a future Remedy game that also takes place in this same universe. So,
do you think that all of the games take place in this universe?
I mean, every game they've ever made?
Yeah.
Like, that is exactly where I was going to go with this, is like, I know Take-Two is a gigantic behemoth, and who is all powerful, and that this would be very difficult on Remedy's part, unless Take-Two just sees no value in the Max Payne IP. But do you think this leads to them trying to get Max Payne back?
I don't know. Maybe.
Like, I'm sure they would love for that to happen, right?
And do they have any control over Quantum Break?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because if you're doing crossover events, like, what else is on the Remedy?
Death Rally.
I want to say there are specific Quantum Break. I never played Quantum Break, and I certainly don't know like names of characters, but I could have sworn there is some very specific Quantum Break stuff in Control.
You might be right, but like, there's a difference between like having like nods and winks and references to a thing, and like, hey, we're gonna.
Max Payne's gonna drive around in a car with a machine gun on it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Death Rally was all right. That game's pretty fucking good. Death Rally was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, Alan Wake and Control are the most like cut from the same cloth of all the games they've made. Like they're both like very kind of spooky, supernatural, like Stephen King-ish type stuff. So that makes sense. But I don't know, man. This is kind of exciting.
Like I really like Control, but I just never got into Alan Wake. The gameplay of it just never really did anything for me, and I bounced off it real hard, real fast.
I went back and played some of the Steam version a couple years ago, and it's I don't know how well it holds up. Like
it hasn't aged well. I liked it a lot at the time, but even at the time, I was like, this is pushing it.
Yeah, I think the story stuff is good and continues to be good from what I remember of it. I didn't play through the whole thing again, but it's very combat heavy, and the combat is pretty one note.
I just never got into the cool story bits of Alan Wake because of just like everything about how it played and controlled and stuff. Just right out of the gate, I was like, dude, I don't want to do this.
Fucking Barry shows up wrapped in Christmas lights at the end. Like this stuff is so good. Yeah, this is cool though. I excited for Remedy. It seems like they kind of have had their ups and downs.
Yeah,
over the last few years, but Control is strong as hell. And
I hope Control did well for that. Yeah, I don't know how well it sold or whatever, but like I love Control. What a great game. One of the thousands of games you can play.
That's right.
I should get
on the Xbox Series X.
Have they said? I wonder if that Series X version of Control is going to have the ray tracing enabled, or some version of it.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
The ray tracing stuff in that game was good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Control is the best story, the best writing that they have done in a game. So, pretty excited to hear they're going to keep going in that direction. And that's it. That's all I got for news.
Cool.
Did they delay any other games?
Just Halo Infinite.
Okay.
What?
What are they going to launch with?
Mr. Mosquito 2.
Oh.
What if... Never mind.
No, go on.
I was thinking, what if it's just a campaign that's delayed?
Oh, huh. That multiplayer is free to play.
Well, so I think it was already the case that the multiplayer might not have been day and date.
Wait, what?
Oh, so I thought it was that maybe because the multiplayer is going to be free to play.
Are you suggesting they were just going to launch a campaign called Halo Infinite?
I feel like I had seen that floated. I don't know how accurate that actually is, but
if that were the case, and we're not saying it is, I feel like that's even more scandalous than pushing the whole thing back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the. I don't know what the actual case was there.
Once again, I feel like we just have to go to break now because
two
I
guess it was a rumor that was not super substantiated. They kind of got out and denied it or whatever. But
okay.
There was one more news story that I don't know if you skipped over on purpose.
Did I skip another one?
But Ono out at Capcom.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I don't know how I jumped to Alan Wake because it followed from the State of Play stuff, and then totally yes, I did mean to cover that as well. Yeah, Yoshinori Ono, the face of Street Fighter. Is that the best way to describe it?
For a time, he was the face of Street Fighter.
I mean, he was the person that got 4 going. Like that was his big thing. Is he wanted to work really hard to reboot Street Fighter, and he did it with 4, and it was a massive success. And then Street Fighter 5 happened.
Okay, I've never been super clear exactly what his role is. If he's on the creative side or if he's more of the producer.
He's on the creative side.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, he's been at Capcom for going on 30 years, and he is out now, or about to be.
Yeah. Obviously there's no like public statement, but the predominant rumor I've seen floating around is it has to do with Street Fighter 6.
Huh. Well, you mean
Which-
like he wants to be out of there and let somebody else take the reins on a new project?
The stuff I was seeing was less of that, and a lot of this is speculation, but like, and more of he was really pushing some stuff for 6 that a lot of people were not super into. I don't know. It's curious because they announced like very hard and firm that there was not going to be any more Street Fighter 5 DLC. Like they were done. It was the last character, and then they announced, just kidding, we're doing another season. And they announced that season they're putting.
It's what is it, Dan?
They're really digging the bottom of the barrel. They got Rose, Dan, Ono,
Oro.
Akira
not
from
Ono.
Rival Schools,
Yeah.
and one more character to be named.
Is Rose bottom tier?
I mean, she's just like not a lot of. Sorry, Jason, if you're watching, but not a lot of people really like Rose.
No.
She's just kind of like, oh yeah, Rose.
You
I
could
forgot
make
about
Rose
her.
cool. I
have nothing
Rose
against
was cool
Rose.
in Alpha. Like when Alpha first came out, Rose was pretty like different. Like the reflect stuff was neat.
I'm told that Rose has won an Evo.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So-
But
Was there any rumor about what some of that stuff is or was that he was pushing for 6 in terms of design direction, or is that all just
The one thing I saw from somebody on Twitter who claimed to know was he was trying to push a like team Street Fighter thing, like a 3v3, like Street Fighter 6 was going to be 3v3, and everyone internally hated it.
I mean, it's just King of Fighters at that point. Like, what are you doing? Like that, you can't. That's a different game already. I mean, you can put a team battle mode into whatever you want, but that's not a hook. You can't hang that. You can't.
No. And I mean, like 5 didn't really have a hook. Like the differences between Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 is like nothing.
Well, it's like 4 was like, hey, we know 3 was nuts and very it's like elaborate and technical, and we want to try to bring that back down to something that you can just pick up and play.
Right. He said he wanted to make it like Street Fighter 2 again.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like, that's smart. For as much time has passed between 3 and 4, like that's what you do. You reboot it more or less. But then 5 was kind of like, yeah, we're rebooting the
Do that
reboot
again.
a little bit, and it's still kind of that, but we've changed some systems up, and I don't, 5 is what it is. Yeah, I don't. It's that game's okay. For all its faults and all the ups and downs it had along the way. Yeah, I don't know. Like Ono had a weird run, man.
Yeah.
Ono like saw like he was there when that thing kind of came back, and he was the face of bringing it back, and yeah, good on him for getting out. Good on him for getting out. That's sometimes people talk to the press. People get out there and make public statements, and then they become very beloved, and you hear a lot of different things from people who have to work with someone day in, day out.
Go on.
That's about it. I don't know. Yeah, you hear that about like a handful of figures in the video. Like it's something that we never know.
Yes.
Because we're the press. We're like, we show up and they're like, hey, everything's great. Hey, is everything great? Everything's great, right? Yeah, we're all buddies here. These games are awesome.
Put on a good face to represent the company.
Yeah,
give the impression everything's fine here.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I will be interested to see what someone else does with Street Fighter. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Like I'll be interested to see like if when you make some changes at the top to put out a new Street Fighter, like what that game eventually looks like.
They're gonna kill Blanca.
Okay. All right.
It's Ono's favorite character.
Sure.
Okay. We wish him well. Happy trails.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's yes, and he had all the health stuff that came up there at one point. Like there's just
I didn't know about that.
He's had a weird ride, especially more recently. So yeah, that's interested to see what happens next.
Yes,
and to see what he does next. Like if he ends up somewhere else or something.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
That,
it's 30 years, pretty long time. Like he might just be.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Could be retiring. Who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for news. Unless I skipped anything else, I don't think so. All right.
Yeah, delayed Halo Infinite.
What? Oh man, we can't talk. This segment's too long. We gotta go to break. We'll be right back. We're back. Did any more news break?
Just the other thing.
Okay.
Oh, Vampire.
Huh?
The Bloodlines got delayed.
What?
Everything's getting
Yeah.
delayed right now.
And I think that happened over the weekend, but they pushed that back, or maybe it happened yesterday. Either way,
Vampires.
yeah,
That's what I have to say.
they walk among us.
That's right.
Don't invite them into your house.
No.
Yeah,
I put on the Francis Ford. Oh, hold up. Wait, what?
No.
Somebody from chat is. You ever have that problem where one person in chat has a problem and they say it loudly, and then you just assume everybody has the problem, and then you freak out?
yes,
And
Yeah.
Then, and
Oh.
then, and then,
Never look at chat.
Welcome
Yeah.
to
They
being a
don't exist.
and
producer.
Then, and then chat catches up, and everybody else is going like, "No, that's fine. Nothing is wrong. Sorry."
Story of my existence.
Someone said that the video was not working. All right, let's just do some emails, man. I don't know what else to do here.
Emails.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com. Here goes. Let's just start. I almost put this in news, but we got an email about it, so I decided that perhaps this was a better place for it. But they launched a Tony Hawk burrito.
yeah.
from
Not
Chipotle.
since the Huba Stank burrito have I been.
Wait,
First,
did Denny's
look
make
it
a
up.
Tony Hawk burrito?
Oh, Chipotle. But,
Chipotle.
Alex from Texas wrote in because he had one.
I went to Chipotle yesterday.
We've got
Oh
a
man,
you
you
get
could
a
have got a
demo.
code for the demo.
we've got a mouth on report of the Tony Hawk burrito.
Great. Put your mouth on Tony Hawk's burrito and write in to tell us about it.
Gladly.
No, someone already did, so you don't need to write in.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Alex from Texas. So at lunchtime, I got the notification that if I bought a Tony Hawk burrito from Chipotle, I would get access to the demo. Well, I ordered it, and I'm disappointed. Come on, Tony. No corn, no pico, just chicken, beans, rice, guacamole, cheese, and red salsa. Too plain for the Birdman, if you ask me. And it was even better. As I ordered it, a small picture of Tony's face appeared on top of my order, urging me to complete the order, and I would get the demo. It's been an hour now. I haven't received a code or demo. Was I just swindled?
Maybe, I don't know.
Perhaps.
I thought they had limited codes.
Or that also, like, is the demo even started yet? Is it something that's like...
The rush on the Tony Hawk burrito was such that they ran out immediately? Wait, this can't be right. Chat is saying the demo was limited to 2,000 people?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, don't let people play the game before it's out. It's a terrible idea.
Huh. Wow, yes, that appears to be the case. The first 2,000 people. Huh. All right. Well, I don't know. That burrito sounds all right.
It's just boring.
Pretty
Yeah, it's
pedestrian, but
boring.
you know.
I mean, you take the guacamole off, you might have something.
Oh, what? I'm not even going to. Just forget it, man.
Jeff, how did you feel about hearing that old onions had E. coli?
Pretty safe.
Yeah.
I was like,
Pretty
yeah,
vindicated.
yeah. I was like, see, stay away from that shit. It's bad for you.
We cooked all our onions.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Cook them in a hot garbage can that you set on fire out back to burn your garbage in.
Oh, you mean
When the city comes around to say, stop burning your garbage, you say, this is just onions.
You mean like the newspaper grill?
Yeah.
Did you ever see? Did you ever watch those infomercials back in the day?
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to obsess.
Put some newspaper in it. And
Oh
yeah.
man, that stuff looks so good. Just cook on newspaper. Why not? You got
Yeah.
newspapers lying around.
It's true. I do.
Why
and,
not?
Newspapers taste delicious. So
Why not turn it into a hamburger
What?
in the parking lot of the stadium?
yeah.
Speaking of burning trash in a garbage can.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan from Toronto, is peanut butter sweet or savory?
Depends. If you
Yeah.
get the like Jif brand, that's sweet.
Excuse me, I think it's pronounced GIF.
The GIF one is savory though.
I think I would lean towards savory these days, but that's probably.
I think it
'cause
depends on you're probably getting
We get the just peanut butter these days.
that's
Or I think it depends what you pair it with or don't pair it with.
Sure.
If it's with jelly or jam, sweet.
Well, that's the
Because-
jam that's sweet.
Well, it's true.
Well, yeah,
you're
but the
getting-
combination of it.
you're getting the sweet and the savory.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you pair anything with jam, it's gonna make it sweet.
what about onions
Oh.
that are on fire?
Mm.
Oh.
Peanut butter and onions.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
I've had it.
Whoa! What?
Hmm.
Huh.
You get real bored sometimes.
Yeah, I guess so. I can see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys talk about PB&J when I was out a couple weeks ago? We've gotten several emails about people who like mash their peanut butter and jelly
Seems like something that
together
would
into
come
a
up.
paste before they make a sandwich.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's
mentioned
fucking crazy.
somebody put that as a addendum in their email one time, and I mentioned that, and we all said they were a monster.
Well, we did talk about like PB&J composition before.
It just sounds
Yeah.
like unnecessary work to me. I don't know.
Yeah, don't mix them together.
All right. He's
Mix
back.
them in your mouth.
Yes, there you go. All right, he's back, y'all. Email superstar Nathan from Tumwater, Washington. What's the best tasting berry?
Black.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Man.
I grew up with a blackberry bush in my backyard, so I feel like there's a big nostalgia kick to it.
I haven't had a ton of blackberries. Aren't they pretty tart?
Yeah.
Kind of a sourness there.
I love a sour berry.
I grew up around blackberry bushes as well, and I hate blackberries.
I might go with the blueberry.
As someone that doesn't like red fruit, strawberries are pretty good.
Yeah, strawberries are not bad.
Strawberries are pretty good.
If you
I think blueberries are only okay when they are on their own. I think when you mix blueberries into a food, the flavor is so strong
I'm the
that it just
opposite.
takes away from what you're putting it in.
I hate raw blueberries.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I have to have them like cooked in something.
Really?
In a muffin.
In a muffin, in a sauce, like a compote. I'll fuck with a
Oh,
blueberry
man.
compote.
Oh man, I'll just pour a whole pile of blueberries into my yogurt.
Dried cranberries are good, but that's just
Ooh,
because they're hella sweet.
I didn't even think of the cranberries.
I like a raspberry.
Okay.
I like a
I
raspberry.
do like a raspberry.
haven't had a
I'd say they're my
raspberry.
number 2.
Yeah,
behind
raspberry's
black.
pretty good actually. I'd say that one's up there.
I like strawberry flavored things a lot. It's probably one of my favorite like flavors, but I can't. I have a weird texture thing with the seeds. The little black seeds just like mess with me on a spiritual level that I can't get past.
Oh.
When they get right between your teeth as you're clacking them together, and you just crunch on one of those seeds, it's just a disgusting feeling. It's a bad feeling.
Chat reminded me of the existence of cranberries, which have their place, I would say.
Yeah.
A Swede brought up the existence of the lingonberry, which I don't believe I've had outside of an IKEA.
Yeah.
I can't say. But
What about a dingleberry? Not a fan.
always just have to drag this podcast through the muck, don't you? I actually had an email about IKEA here, if I can find it real quick. Here it is. Okay. Speaking of IKEA. Email from Jordan. On the Fall Guys Quick Look, Ben mentioned that The Floor is Lava is filmed inside an abandoned IKEA. Brad wondered how an IKEA could become abandoned when they are constantly crowded. The Floor is Lava is filmed in the former Burbank IKEA. This IKEA, which was the smallest in North America, was closed when the largest IKEA in North America opened a few miles down the road. I worked at both locations and feel the need to tell you it was no exception to the nightmare that is retail employment. I urge everyone to consider the fact that any retail worker you encounter is most likely experiencing acute misery and to please afford them the appropriate leeway. Quitting my job at IKEA remains the most cathartic experience of my life.
Good for you.
Does anyone on the podcast have a cherished quitting experience they'd be willing to share? I'm trying to think. I've had at least 2 retail experiences that were both like surprisingly okay.
One particularly unpleasant job I had. It wasn't in retail. It was web based, but the bosses really didn't care what we were doing as long as we were like hitting our quotas. And I was like, it's my last day. I'm quitting. I'm just gonna go buy a Wii U. And so I took a cab to the Blockbuster. I got a Wii U. I took a cab home. I set it up. I downloaded a couple games, and I went back to the office. It took like 3.5 hours, and I got back, and one of my coworkers was like, "Hey, where were you? We wanted to do like a team lunch." And I was like, "I was buying a Wii U," and he was like, "How tight? Cool. They don't care. They're like, we got to skip the team lunch, and we got to do our own thing, so it worked out." But
okay.
yes, also I will super duper co-sign their thing of please be nice to retail workers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
restaurant
They
servers.
are almost never at fault for what you are mad at them about.
Also customer service people, like pretty much anybody who is on the receiving end of shitty abuse from assholes in the general public.
I jumped
just
out
be
of
cool.
I jumped out of the drive-through window I worked at because I was just done with my job.
Wow.
Into a friend's car.
Where was that? Like literally through the window?
Yeah.
Did you take any food with you?
Which restaurant
I
was
took
that?
a Fruitista Freeze with me.
Hey.
What restaurant is that?
A KFC Taco Bell.
Aha. Okay.
Oh, I missed the Fruitista. Those were good. They're really syrupy, but
They're just okay.
That is an incredible. That is impossible to top that story. I worked at a mom and pop pharmacy, which was all old people who were very friendly, and then an EB, which the less said about EB, the better. All right. How about Eric from Roseville, California? What is the jazziest game? Interpret that however you'd like. Music, vibe, improvisational feel, whatever.
Ape Out.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Okay, sure.
I mean, jazz punk.
I started to say jazz punk.
Jazz in the
right
name.
right there in the
It's-
name, but I don't know if it's not really jazzy though.
Trying not to look at chat on this one.
A lot of jazz punk.
Improvisational.
I
You
think
guys-
like Tony Hawk and like Echo the Dolphin in a weird way with the
Ooh,
ability
that's
to
good.
flip out of the water and just kind of like the control you have over the dolphin when you're doing all your flipping and stuff. I think that's a little jazzy. There's an element there.
You guys are super gonna clown on me for this answer, but Super Smash Brothers Melee would be my go-to. It's a very fluid like combo system. You have to kind of feel it out as you're comboing.
Just anything.
It's about the
goes,
buttons you don't
man.
hit.
It really is.
Okay. B from Tampa, Florida. Regarding your discussion this week of the chicken sandwich that tasted like fish, I believe that was a McChicken, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You got a
Maybe.
chicken sandwich that tasted like it was fish?
I didn't know whether or not it was a McChicken or a fish fillet.
Man, that's fucked up.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
intense. I worked at McDonald's for a few years in high school, and one of the cardinal rules was to never cook chicken in the same oil as the fish fillets for this exact reason.
Oh.
Anything cooked in the fish oil would absolutely taste like fish afterwards. Chicken, fries, hash browns, everything. The fish got its own separate oil reservoir at the very end of the fry station. It was not unheard of for mistakes to happen, but it was really drilled into you the first week to never cross the oils. So there you go. And now chat has raised the possibility of fish fries. And I'm kind of curious.
That might be good.
Kind of curious.
It's like never microwaving fish, right?
Sounds
It's that kind of
okay.
thing of like the flavor is so strong that it's going to destroy anything else it touches. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Like blueberries.
I suppose so.
If you guys had to,
No,
Yes?
you started.
but I'm changing mid-course. What's okay? You're in charge of reinventing fast food fish. What do you do?
As long as John
Um,
Silver still exists?
Yeah.
Still around? Okay.
Are there any? Because I feel like all the ones I knew about closed.
I know the one in my hometown closed, but I'm not sure.
There's one in South City.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I was going to say I would just do that. If they were gone, I'd just bring it back. But
It's real popular right now. Taiyaki. It's like a fish-looking dessert cone thing, and then you put soft serve in it. I would just have the fish cone.
Okay.
Is
So
the
that's
cone
not,
itself
yeah.
fish or is it filled with fish?
Just either or.
I wonder if
tartar sauce with that or something.
I wonder if like a high-end fish and chips chain could do well, like something on the level of like a Five Guys kind of situation.
Could you make really big chips and then serve fish and chips in a burger format, where it's like a fish on chips?
Fish
Okay.
chips.
Yeah, like that would be. I would invent. It'd be like do like a fish burger that way, and then I don't know, put Cheetos on it. Like what do you got to match it up with to like get
Flavor
the kids,
blast
get the
your
kids
chips.
talking flavor blasted fish with goldfish crackers? Could you make hard chowder?
I'm writing this down.
Man, we got to stop doing this. I'm so hungry right now.
Hard chowder.
What?
This
Which
podcast
part
just
is
sails right
hard?
past lunchtime.
I mean, I think there's multiple ways you could go with it, where you like something that's like chunky and substantial in the way that you could put it on a burger or put it on a bun.
I'm thinking like,
Or what if
it's
it
like
had
a hot
booze in
pocket?
it, like hard chowder? Yeah, like a hot
Oh.
pocket full of chowder. That'd work too.
Ooh.
What if it's just deep fried chowder?
I'm sure that's a thing.
Like a deep fried chowder patty. That's in a burger.
Roll the chowder in some panko.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So you gotta put it into like puck molds, freeze it, batter that up, fry that up,
batter it.
Flash fry it.
The little oyster crackers can be the breading.
And you serve it on big oyster crackers.
Yeah, or in a big oyster cracker, like a crunch
Hot pocket, but it's a big oyster cracker.
Yeah, I want a big oyster cracker.
So like chowder, but thicker.
Yeah,
I used to
You get that thick chowder.
my dad worked as a fisherman, and part of his job was like going to the restaurants that they supplied to. And so we ended up at a lot of seafood restaurants. I hated seafood as a kid, but I loved oyster crackers. So they would take me to like the kitchen or whatever, and I'd just be like getting handfuls of fucking oyster crackers in my mouth.
there was a while there that I was going to Fresh Choice, and Fresh Choice had like a chicken soup with those thick ass noodles.
Yeah.
There was a while there that I don't know if it started as a goof or we're just fucking broken people. Me and my friend, we would just get the broth and then just dump enough oyster crackers into that. They weren't oyster crackers. They were like little hexes or whatever. It was the same basic idea. And then you would mash that up until it was just the salt. It was gruel. Basically, you were just eating
Like a hard chowder.
It's
it
like
was like a hard chowder, and it was basically probably too much salt.
it's like you made like congee or like porridge.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's-
kinda.
hell yeah.
But like it was
Now we're
chickeny,
talking.
salty. It was all right, man.
All right,
Hard
No French
chowder.
choices no more. What am I supposed to do?
we have to move on. I can't listen to food.
I can't get that
emails
shitty
anymore.
pizza anywhere.
It's a good shitty pizza.
I'm
I would
just
stab somebody for that shitty pizza.
Oh, I was exiting the freeway in South City, and then how sometimes when you're at a freeway exit, you'll see like a hastily put together sign for like a garage sale or like someone selling something outside their house for other stuff, home businesses. I saw a haphazardly put together sign that said $5 wings and or pizza, Chuck E. Cheese, please come.
Ooh,
I
Wow.
was
That's-
really upset.
that's dire.
Wait, $5 wing. The and or is really confusing to me because like or makes sense. $5 can get you pizza or chicken wings. Can I get both for $5?
You could get some wings for $5 and then pizza for $5. Maybe you get like 2 wings and a slice.
Yeah.
That sounds right. We have to stop talking about this.
Did you guys check out Chuck E. Cheese's Twitch channel?
Oh no.
They were playing Animal Crossing and they had like a little band set up.
Was it just them trying to say like you should order online? We got our friends over at Pasquale's. They'll sell you some wings.
They definitely had buttons at the bottom that you could click on and order.
This is depressing. All
That's
right.
what Chuck E. Cheese's are closing down.
Wow.
They should rebrand as a haunted house.
Well, they went bankrupt. They should. Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's right
Just
there.
lean into that.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just
Why aren't they doing ad? Because they don't have the money for it. I guess is the answer. But like,
just redress that.
why don't they make an advert game that is just a bootleg Five Nights at Freddy's?
Do you guys have any Showbiz Pizza out here?
No, but it's like the same idea.
Yes. Maybe
Right,
I
that's
think
just-
that was.
Weren't they also owned by
I think that
Chuck
was.
E.
That must have
Cheese?
been a regional thing where I lived. Yeah, I wanted to say they got bought by the Chuck E. Cheese people. I'm not sure. What is Chuck? What is Chuck? What is Charles Cheese? Is he a rat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Charles
Yeah.
Entertainment Cheese is a rat.
Yeah.
The mascot of Showbiz Pizza was a bear.
Okay.
Uh,
They had a good arcade at the Chuck E. Cheese.
okay, sure.
They had Crazy Climber.
Oh man! All right, last food email. I have to stop this. Jacob writes in. Brad mentioned natural peanut butter on the last hotspot. Search Amazon for a paint stirrer drill attachment. If you have any kind of power drill or driver, it works great for stirring the peanut butter. All right,
That sounds great.
that's pretty brilliant.
Busting out power tools
It's
to keep
It's pretty brilliant.
the oil in.
Yeah.
I had to mix tahini yesterday, and that's rough. I
Yeah.
wish I had a power tool for that.
All right. That's it for food emails. God damn it. Let's do 2-3 others real quick here. I had one lined up and I lost it. Here it is. Jesse from Perth, in Western Australia. Ashen was an Engage game. Did the new Ashen just straight up steal the name? Are all Engage games fair game now? Don't know why this bothered me enough to write in.
You know, it could be a copyright that expired, or like maybe the term Ashen is so generic that you can't copyright it on its own. So,
yeah,
you know,
yes. But also, yes, all Engage games might as well not have existed at this point.
Except for
Glimmerati,
whatever.
Glimmerati.
Yeah. That game's got sex appeal. That's why.
Oh.
But yeah, sometimes you can't trademark generic terms.
Oh, that was a fun stream to shoot over your shoulder.
The follow-up Gizmondo stream is gonna fucking really knock your socks off.
What about that,
someday.
What about that Tapwave Zodiac? I gave you one of those, right? I think.
Yeah, I had one of those from when they launched too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you gave me that other one, right? Yeah, so I got a couple of those. That was so the Tapwave Zodiac. They did the version of Tony Hawk for the Zodiac is that same isometric GBA game, but like high res.
Oh, weird.
Because the Zodiac was like a more powerful platform than the GBA, and so it's like the same game, but like way better looking. It's kind of nuts.
Definitive version of that version of Tony Hawk.
Yeah, weirdly enough, good Solitaire also. Good Solitaire. Good version of Tony Hawk. That's everything I know about the Tapwave Zodiac.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
What? This is from Matthew in Perth, Scotland.
Perth.
Yes. I was listening to your discussion about Flash games going away and you listing off some of your favorites and felt compelled to email you to tell you about Flashpoint. It's a program that downloads thousands of the top Flash games for you and includes a launcher for all of them as well. It's got the Teen Titans fighting game, as well as every other game you mentioned, plus loads more. My personal favorite rediscovery was that of Junkbot, a game from the old Lego website where you have to build bridges for Junkbot to get across and empty the bins. It's a great Wii game, and Flashpoint has been loads of fun for me. So
Yeah, Flashpoint. Yes,
I never heard of that before, but that's your best bet for. So I assume it's saving that stuff locally. It's like a way to archive those games.
Yeah, you're kind of downloading all of these Flash games and doing all this stuff. It's neat.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a Windows thing, I assume.
Yeah, I think
Sounds
so.
good.
I wonder, can you play the original Frog Fractions in it? Is that in there?
Huh.
Oh,
I don't know.
I need to play that. I need to check out that iconic cap.
Yes, the iconic cap
DLC.
pack. Hop's iconic cap
Hop's iconic cap. I
DLC.
But I think I'm going to play through without it first, and before I
Yeah, that's what I did.
check it out with. I think that's the.
How long is that game originally? It's like an hour or something, right?
I finished it under an hour.
Yeah, it's
the
about that
original.
long.
Okay.
And then how long with the hat?
I think my final playtime was around 3 hours
All right.
for both.
Wow, that's a lot. Oh, for both. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a pretty substantial amount of extra stuff.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, it's been long enough since I've played original Frog Fractions that I just want to go back and experience the magic.
Yeah, I had forgotten a lot about it and remembered a surprising amount about it.
All right. Last email. Justin from Union, Kentucky. Hey, dudes.
Hey.
I had not heard about this. With Peter Moore and Liverpool Football
Halo got
Club.
Oh god.
With Peter Moore and Liverpool Football Club announcing that he will be leaving the club later this year, I figured it would be worth checking in on where he's leaving things. At the moment, Liverpool are the reigning champions of England, Europe, and the world. In soccer, you don't necessarily have to win those in that order, and topping England for the first time in 30 years will likely go down as the crowning achievement for this era of Liverpool. It's also worth noting Moore's success came while being the second most profitable club in England, because teams rarely achieve that level of success while also bringing in large profits. As of now, Moore hasn't said where he's going next, but it's been a blast watching the Dreamcast guy lead my team to such incredible success. Man, Peter Moore fucking killed it over there.
Yeah, I never would have known. That's That's cool.
That's wild. I had not heard he was leaving, but also
Yeah. Do you think he comes back to video games?
I don't know. He's coming back to Sega.
Yeah.
He's going to do it this time. He's going to finally.
The chairman of Sega just stepped down.
Oh,
Who was that?
Weirdly enough, well, like the head of Sega in
Gotta?
No, the
In Japan
His son is taking over.
or in Europe?
yeah, in Japan.
Oh. Well, Peter Moore is a free agent now, so.
No, maybe it was just a vice president, Kenji Matsubara.
Okay.
Now that I'm Googling this, but no, that's
I believe Peter Moore has ascended beyond vice president status personally.
Yeah.
yeah.
I believe he's a dude who should be running things at this point. I don't actually expect him to come back to games, but that would be exciting because
I wonder how different EA would have been if he had gotten that gig.
If he had gotten that job instead of Andrew Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm going to say better? I don't know. Who can say? Congratulations to Peter Moore and Liverpool. All right. That's it for emails.
cool.
Now what?
I don't know.
Got this after show.
Oh, that's right. Did you hear Halo Infinite got delayed?
What?
You guys should somebody should address that.
All right, yeah, maybe we'll do.
me.
We'll just do an hour on this Halo Infinite thing.
Yes.
That's all you, Jeff.
All right,
I'm sure there's
I'll talk about it an hour. They're gonna push it back next year.
all kinds of
That's the
brilliant
news. It's in the
analysis.
news.
Yes. It's all everybody's talking about right now.
It's going around.
Yes. Indeed. All right.
Halo Infinite is the vice president pick. It's ridiculous.
Damn it. I thought we were going to make it without somebody. All right. We're going to end this podcast now. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for the after show.
Halo is a cop.
Happy birthday, Mom.
We will see you next
Happy
week.
birthday, Jan's mom.
Yes. Happy birthday, Jan's mom. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.